This is Retro Sports Radio. Visit RetroSeasons.com for more sports history.
The 1967 Major League Baseball All-Star Game took place at Anaheim Stadium on July 11, 1967. The starting lineups of the two teams included 12 future Hall of Famers. The National League was managed by the Dodgers' Walt Alston, who would be managing his 7th All-Star Game. The American League was managed by the Orioles' Hank Bauer. The Orioles won the championship in 1966, their first in franchise history, dating all the way back to the early days of the American League when they were the St. Louis Browns. This audio recording is from the radio broadcast featuring announcers Jim Simpson, Tony Kubek, and Buddy Blattner.
And now let us call in Tony Kubek, former Yankee shortstop who works with us on NBC's Major League Baseball throughout the year. And Tony, with Al Kaline and Brooks, or rather Frank Robinson, in the lineup, this looks to be the strongest American League squad in some years, and looks to be the year that perhaps the American League could win over the National League. But of course, as nearly everyone knows, Al Kaline and Frank Robinson are both out with injuries, and so the shoe is on the other foot, and the National League, at least in pregame talk, is in the driver's seat.
That's right, Jim, and of course Al Kaline has an injury to his hand, a fracture in that hand, and Frank Robinson was injured in a collision with the White Sox, and he, of course, has had double vision for some time, and no one seems to know when either of these two players will be back in the regular season lineup, and of course they're missing this All-Star game. As far as pitching, the experience, the only pitcher for the American League, Dean Chance, has seen All-Star service. For the National League, there are many. Gibson, for one. Drysdale, many more. So the experience in this All-Star game will go to the National League.
All right, Tony, we might point out the temperature here at nearly game time, as shown on the scoreboard in left center field, is 92 degrees. There is some smog here in Anaheim, but it is a good day for baseball, even though it is a hot day for baseball. In just a few moments, we will have the introductions of the National League and the American League squad. And, of course, the National League here at Anaheim is the visiting squad. Down to our right, along the right field line, Juan Marichal, who has quite an all-star record, is warming up and will start the game for the National League. Dean Chance is warming up down the left field line for the American League. For Juan Marichal, he has 2 victories in all-star play, in 1962 and again in 1964. And only one player in history has won 3 all-star games. That was Lefty Gomez back in the 30s, in 1933, 35, and 37. And Marichal, who has 12 victories to lead the Major Leagues in victories thus far this year. His all-star record shows that he has pitched 11 innings, and over the last 7 innings, he has not allowed a single run. Dean Chance, as Tony said, has been an all-star play before. And, of course, he's an ex-Angel and has pitched many ball games here at Anaheim Stadium. With the Angels last year, he was 7-7 here. With the Minnesota Twins this year, he is 1-0. Chance has won 11 ball games, but an all-star play in 1964, Dean worked 3 innings and did not allow a run and only gave up 2 hits. That was his only all-star appearance. The question, I believe, Tony Kubek, will be how can the substitutes, those who have been picked to replace Frank Robinson and Al Kaline in the outfield, pick up the American League squad. Tony Oliva, of course, is quite a player. The former Rookie of the Year, he's won 2 batting championships, although his batting average is well below 300 this year. Tony is only hitting 260, but nevertheless, we've got to remember, you and I have seen him with the Twins, that Tony of late has been quite a hitter.
Yes, he has, Jim. Of course, Tony hits from the left side, and he can hit the ball in any direction with power, and he's going to be a big asset for this American League club. When you have to put an Oliva in to replace a Kaline or Robinson, you're not losing a whole lot, and this is the same with Tony Canigliaro, a right-handed hitter, a good pull hitter, can hit the ball out with any swing, has a good arm and a good defensive right fielder. So the replacements in this All-Star game for the American League are pretty strong players themselves and should do a very good job.
Only here in the United States and those listening on Armed Forces Radio throughout the world, I'm sure there are many discussions and even arguments of which is the stronger league, the National League or the American League. And as we have said, the National League now holds the 19-17 edge. They've won their last 4 in a row, whereas in the World Series a year ago, Baltimore took the National League champions, the Dodgers, 4 in a row. More recently, there's been talk about pitching. And Claude Osteen, who used to be in the American League and who is now in the National League, says that he believes that some of the National League teams have 1 or 2 stars, whereas the American League has pitchers many deep. Chicago White Sox, the case in point. And I would imagine today with hitters like Clemente, Aaron Cepeda, Alan Torrey, all above the 300 mark, that it's going to have to be the American League pitching that holds up this clock.
That's right, Jim. The American League has good pitching depth throughout their staff. And another thing that I have noticed, as has Clete Boyer, who, of course, I played with the Yankees for so many years, and he is now in the National League with the Atlanta Braves, he has noticed somewhat of a difference in defense play. In other words, the National League, although they have good defensive ball players, they do not seem to have as much defense in the infield. So this could be a big thing in this All-Star game, too, the superiority of the American League's defense.
Well, Tony and I, along with Buddy Blattner, will be checking throughout the game, and we'll keep you advised. And, of course, I'm sure that you can tell just by listening, but we'll try to analyze for you the little point, the defense, the offense, and the pitching of both the National League and the American League All-Stars as they gather for this, the 38th All-Star game. Now the National League is being introduced. The manager, Walter Alston, is being introduced. Alston has won more All-Star games than any other manager. 1956, he won 2 of them in 1960, again in 1964, and again in 1966. 5 in all. And he has lost 2 in 1954 and 1957. Now the starting left fielder, Lou Brock, hitting .282, has been introduced. From the Pittsburgh Pirates, last year's most valuable player, Roberto Clemente, now hitting .352. Listen to these batting averages that the National League team has introduced. In center field, he plays right field for the Atlanta Braves, Hank Bauer, hitting .328. At first base, and with the St. Louis Cardinals leading the major leagues in hitting, Orlando Cepeda, hitting .356. Ricky Allen is the third baseman this year from the Philadelphia Phillies, and Ricky, former Rookie of the Year himself, is hitting .314. A man who did not know whether or not he would be here because of an injured ankle, the Atlanta Braves prime catcher is here, limping a little bit, but hitting .317 and ready to play, Joe Torre. Now the center of the infield, both men are from the Pittsburgh Pirates. At second base, hitting .293, Bill Mazeroski. And Anonymity at shortstop in his first All-Star game, but nevertheless he got more votes than any other player in either the American or National League balloting. Gene Alley hitting .283. And batting ninth, Juan Marichal, who this year is 112 and lost 7, has struck out 137 and walked only 30. Now in a moment the reserves will be introduced. Bernie Banks, Tom Haller, Tommy Helms, Willie Mays, for the first time in many years not starting, Jim McCarver, Tony Perez, Pete Rose, Rusty Staub, and Jim Wynn, the latter two from the Houston Astros. And Tony Kubek again, we can only remark, what a powerful team the National League has lined up along the first base line.
That's right, Jim. Of course, any replacement in this ball game is a fine player who is replacing the starting player in that position.
Now the American League, the manager of the world champion Baltimore Orioles, Hank Bauer. Hank is trotted out to third base. And this, of course, Anaheim, California, is an American League town. You will hear quite a bit of cheers for Brooks Robinson at third base. Brooks has played in the last 10 All-Star games. Batting second, and this fella is a rookie this year. From the Minnesota Twins, Rod Carew, the left-handed hitting second baseman. Brooks Robinson was hitting .256 before the All-Star break. Carew at .313 and only one of 2 starters over the 300 mark for the American League. Tony Oliva, who has never hit below 300, will bat third and play in center field. Tony is hitting .260 at the moment. Armin Killebrew makes history today. He has been selected to the All-Star slot as an outfielder, as a third baseman, and today as a first baseman. Armin hitting .259 with 22 home runs. Tony Migliaro from the Boston Red Sox will be in right field, batting fifth. Migliaro's batting average, .290 for the year. And another Red Sox, Carl Yastrzemski, selected by the players to start in left field. And Carl is hitting .324. 19 home runs this year. All last year, Yastrzemski had a total of 16. Bill Freehand with 12 home runs, as many as he collected all last year as the catcher from the Detroit Tigers, hitting .275. Batting eighth and playing shortstop, and he may only play a short time today because of a bruised right wrist. Rico Petrocelli hitting .291. And the pitcher today, listen to the hand that he will get. Forward, California Angel, now with the Minnesota Twins, Dean Chance. Now the rest of the players and coaches for the American League. At third base yesterday, Bill Wrigley, the manager of the California Angels, will be coaching in first base from the league-leading White Sox. Eddie Sankey will be the coach. For the National League, it will be Harry the Hat Walker, the Pittsburgh Pirates, at third base, and Herman Franks of the San Francisco Giants at first base. And now, ladies and gentlemen, here at Anaheim, the crowd rises to sing our national anthem. With more of the pregame color after this message from the Chrysler Corporation.
Hi, this is Edie Gourmet. Now, I'm not very handy with a slide rule, but Plymouth engineers have got to do something else. After they gave the new Plymouth Fury the biggest standard V8 in its class, you'd think they'd have just sat around slapping each other's backs. Well, not these cars.
Right, Edie. Plymouth engineers also fitted Fury with the largest optional V8 and the biggest brakes in its class, plus torsion bar suspension and very plush interior. Drive a Fury soon. And just to please Plymouth engineers, take along a yardstick. Fury also has the largest trunk in its class.
Plymouth is out to win you over this year. Follow your heart to your Plymouth dealer today.
A big, luxurious Fury soon. It's the high-value car in the low-price field. The Success Car, 57. See Fury today at your Plymouth dealer. The umpires today behind the plate, Ed Runge from the American League in his fourth All-Star game. Frank Sikoria of the National League in his fifth All-Star game is at first base. Lou DeMuro of the American League at second. Ken Burkhart of the National League is at third. Down the right field line, umpiring his first All-Star game, Emmett Ashford. And down the left field line from the National League, Chris Palacuda. And below us now, Red Ruffing and Lloyd Weiner, both members of the Hall of Fame, elected this year, will throw out the first ball for this, the 38th All-Star game. Ruffing, of course, the former great with the New York Yankees, and Lloyd Weiner, quite a hitter with the Pittsburgh Pirates. We pause 10 seconds for station identification.
WNBC keeps things going with up-to-the-minute traffic reports all weekend long on WNBC, AM and FM New York.
Jim Simpson along with Tony Kubek and Buddy Blattner from Anaheim Stadium for the 38th All-Star Baseball game. Red Ruffing has taken the mound, and Lloyd Weiner has taken a position behind the plate, and Ruffing will throw out the first ball for this, the All-Star game. And while that ceremony takes place, let us now call in Buddy Blattner, the voice of the California Angels, and the man who knows the most about this, Anaheim Stadium, the site of this All-Star game. And Buddy, welcome aboard, and a few words about Anaheim Stadium.
Well, Jim, thank you. It's certainly a delight for me to share the booth with you and Tony for this great All-Star ball game, and we certainly have an awesome array of power and talent on display today. I guess we can kind of say that through these portals pass the greatest ball players in the world here this afternoon. Very quickly, Anaheim Stadium is a year and a half old, and it'll be swelled to a capacity of 46,000 here this afternoon with the structure of 3,000 bleacher seats in left field and in right field. But I think the big thing about this ballpark, and I think Tony will agree with me, the ball players love it. It's a functional ballpark as far as the spectators are concerned, but it's a fair ballpark. This is not a pitcher's ballpark, nor is it a bandbox, a hitter's ballpark. If you hit the ball well, it'll leave the ballpark. If you pitch well, you'll win. Well,
buddy, another thing that was mentioned by some of the infielders, Mazeroski and Alley in particular, the infield in this ballpark is a very good infield. Don't see too many bad hops, and they like to play on something like this after Pittsburgh.
That's right, and the infield is not as hard as some that you may find through the Midwest at midseason. They kind of fake out. But this is our warmest day, but ordinarily it's quite cool here, and the field is in marvelous playing conditions. And I'm just going to kind of sit back here now, Jim, and let her fly.
All right, buddy, we'll be hearing from you later on. First of all, defensively, let us set the American League squad, which has already taken the field. Armin Killebrew is at first base. Rod Carew of the Minnesota Twins. Mike Killebrew at second base. Rico Petrocelli is starting, the shortstop from Boston. Brooks Robinson of Baltimore's at third base. Carl Yastrzemski of Boston in left field. Tony Oliva of the Minnesota Twins is in center field. Tony Conigliaro of Boston is in right field. Bill Freehan of Detroit is the catcher. Dean Chance now prepares to pitch to Lou Brock, the left fielder hitting .282 of the St. Louis Cardinals. Brock playing in his first All-Star game. Led the National League in stolen bases last year with 74. He can run. He's got 28 already this year. He steps in, left-handed batter to face Dean Chance, who works outside and high with his first pitch, ball one.
And of course, Jim, the American League infield has come in quite a bit for Brock, being left-handed hitter. He has very good speed. He can drag bunt. He can push the ball down third base, and yet he has the power to drive it by him. So he's a very versatile type player.
On inside is Chance with the second pitch. It is 2-0. The outfield is pulled ever so slightly to the right. In this, the first inning of the 38th Annual All-Star Game with Roberto Clemente and Hank Aaron to follow. Here's the 2-0 pitch from Dean Chance. Swing and a miss by Lou Brock. It's 2-1. And Tony Kubek and I, last Friday night, out in Chicago's Comiskey Park, saw Dean Chance hook up with Gary Peters, who is another member of this All-Star squad in one of the finest baseball games that we have seen in many years. Chance delivers, and it's fouled off to the left and upstairs by Brock, and that evens the count at 2 apiece.
In that ball game you're referring to, Jim, of course, Dean Chance and the Minnesota Twins lost by the score of 2-1, and they lost in the last half of the ninth inning on an error in the infield where Chance gave up 2 unearned runs, and it was a very good ball game all the way, very well played. It was a tough chance to score, really, on Versailles, the shortstop. It was scored in error, but it could have gone either way.
2-2 now to the leadoff batter in this All-Star game, Lou Brock. Bouncing ball. Up with it is Brooks Robinson at third, and a throw to first, and despite the speed of Lou Brock, he's tossed out. 1 down. Brooks Robinson had to back up, and the ball might have caromed over his head, but he did get his glove on the ball. Had to wait to come down before throwing the ball and nipped Brock by a couple of steps. Here's Roberto Clemente hitting .352. Roberto will be 33 years old next month. Drafted from the Dodger organization, and what years he has had with the Pittsburgh Pirates. This is his 11th All-Star game, his 7th start. He is 8 for 21 in All-Star play, hitting .381. Chance works first pitch, and Clemente goes around and loses batting helmet, swinging and missing strike one.
A little bit about Dean Chance's pitching. He has a very good fastball, one that does not move any one particular way all the time. It's liable to sink, it's liable to take off, it's liable to sail. He also has a good hard slider and a pretty good slow curve at times, and it's very effective when he can get it over the plate.
Chance ready again, working rather fast, and this is a high hopper. Killebrew comes off first base, waits for it. Carew goes over to cover, but there's no play, and Clemente beats out an infield hit. First hit of the ball game in this scoreless ball game, and Hank Aaron comes to bat.
And Jim, that ball bounced high in the air, but it did not hit the turf. It hit home plate, and there just was not a chance for a play on Clemente with his fine speed.
Here is Hank Aaron hitting .328. For Hank, this is his 60th All-Star game, his 10th start. He's played left field and right field in the All-Star game, but never center field, and he's playing center field today. Hank Aaron, of course, plays right field for the Atlanta Braves, and he did play center field for the Braves back in 1957 when Billy Bruton was injured. So the position is not new to him, but he hasn't been there lately. Clemente on first, 1 down, top of the first, no score. Dean Chance working, strike.
A little more on Chance's style of pitching. He's a little unorthodox. He turns his back completely toward the hitter and throws that left gloved hand in the face of the hitter, and it's very difficult to pick up the ball from his hand.
Chance again, ground ball. This is Robinson's chance. He goes to second to Carew. He's got him as Carew goes high in the air, and the crowd groans a bit because the question was, did Carew have his foot on the bag when he got the throw? And the second baseman, Frank Sicari of the National League,
says yes. And so Aaron reaches first on the fourth plate. 2 out, and here's Orlando Cepeda, who leads the major leagues in hitting with .356.
From the St. Louis Cardinals, Orlando Cepeda.
Cepeda has 12 home runs. He is second in the National League in RBIs with 59. Comes up with Aaron at first. 2 down in the top of the first inning.
And with Henry on first base, there is a steal threat. He does have real good speed and has a very good percentage of stolen bases.
The inside corner with a fastball from Chance at strike one. Orlando Cepeda, this is his 9th All-Star game, his 7th start. And Tony would hardly believe it. As great a hitter as Orlando Cepeda is in All-Star play, he is 1 for 21, and that was a little bloop hit to right field. Chance is ready. There goes Aaron, and the ball is fouled off upstairs to the right. Strike 2, and Aaron will have to come back. He had a good jump on Dean Chance.
Speaking about that, Jim, something about Chance is he is very slow in his delivery toward home plate. Mentioning before, turning his back completely to the hitter. This gives that base runner on first base an added jump, maybe an extra step or so. With the speed of Brock or Aaron, they may try to take advantage of Chance's move should any of them get on.
Cepeda has looked down to third base where Harry Walker, manager of the Pirates, is giving the sign. Chance is now ready and throws on the inside corner, getting away momentarily from freehand, but he keeps the ball in front of him. And no advance by Aaron. 1-2 now to Orlando Cepeda. Ed Runge rushing off the plate in case you just joined us. 92 degrees here at Anaheim Stadium in Anaheim, California, as the All-Star Classic has come to Southern California once again. Aaron with the short lead off first with a count of 1-2. Chance is ready and throws and a little ground ball that drops back to the screen. Foul, and the count remains 1-2.
The American League is playing Orlando Cepeda very deep, both in the infield and the outfield, and he, of course, has power to hit the ball out in right center or left center field. But to hit the ball here, as Buddy Blattner mentioned, in left center and right center, you've got to hit the ball pretty well. It's a very honest, very good ballpark to play in.
Here's the 1-2 pitch with Aaron running, and there's the throw from freehand, but it is high to Petrocelli, and Aaron has stolen a base.
And, Jim, the throw was high, but had it been a good throw, Aaron had such a good break on Dean Chance, the pitcher, that a good throw would not have gotten him either. He just got a real good jump, and with his speed, he outran the ball.
2-2 is the count now to Cepeda. And Orlando, having one of his great years in this first half of the season, now has a chance to drive in a run. He has 59 on the season, as we said. 307 lifetime batting average. This scoreless All-Star game just getting underway. We're in the top of the first inning. And now Ed Runge calls for the ball and puts a new one in play. Cepeda looks down to Harry Walker. Aaron with a fair lead off second base. Chance looking at him and now throws to Cepeda. The ground ball. Gillibrew goes to his right and will run to the bag for the unassisted put out. No run. 1 hit. No errors. 1 left. In the middle of the first inning, the score is the National League 0 with the American League coming to bat.
Hi, Bill, ladies and gentlemen. This is Rocky Knocker, the famous fighter. You know, ladies and gentlemen, a lot of you guys want to know what it's like to get in a ring. Well, let me tell you, I don't care how good a pugilist you are. You get in a ring, somebody's going to go bam, bam, hit you right in the face. They're going to give you a face hurt. And you know, when you shave before you go in a ring, you use a blade that pulls on your face, you're going to get a face hurt. So when you go in a ring and the guy go bam, bam, hit you right in the face, you're going to get another face hurt. And let me tell you, ladies and gentlemen, 2 face hurts in 1 day don't do your face any good. So what I do, ladies and gentlemen, I use the Gillette Super Stainless blade, the one they call a spoiler. It's got this miracle plastic coating on the edge that reduces the pull when you shave. You don't get a face hurt. Then when I go in the ring, I go bam, bam, hit me right in the face. I only get that 1 face hurt, and I usually win a fight. So if I were you, ladies and gentlemen, I would get the Gillette Super Stainless blade, the spoiler. It's going to make your face feel just great, unless somebody comes along and gives you a punch. But Gillette people can't do anything about that.
Jim Simpson along with Tony Kubek and Buddy Blattner back at Anaheim as we move now to the bottom of the first inning. It'll be Brooks Robinson of Baltimore, Rod Carew, and Tony Lever of the Minnesota Twins to face Juan Marichal. Defensively, Orlando Cepeda, the Cardinals at first base for the National League. Bill Mazeroski of the Pirates at second. Gene Alley of the Pirates at shortstop. Richie Allen of the Philadelphia Phillies at third base. In the outfield, leading from left to right, Lou Brock of the Cardinals in left. Hank Aaron of the Braves. In center, Roberto Clemente of Pittsburgh in right.
Joe Torre of the Atlanta Braves is behind the plate, and Marichal, as we said, with his last 7 innings of all-star pitching, scoreless, and the leader in the majors with 12 victories thus far this year. He has never, ever had a losing season in the minors or majors. Sets to face Brooks Robinson, hitting .256. Brooks in the last 10 all-star games. He has started 5, including the last 3 in a row. Marichal, who throws every kind of pitch in the book and has that high kick ready for his first pitch. Outside and a little high, ball 1 to Robinson.
And Jimmy, to show you the type of respect that these American League players who make the vote for the All-Star team have for Robinson, he's just hitting .256, but of course his prowess with the glove defensively is well known. He's picked on his defensive ability this year.
Marichal right back, and this fastball catches the outside corner. It's 1-1.
You were mentioning about Marichal's assortment of pitches. Well, this includes a curveball, slider, good fastball, sinker, screwball occasionally, and as you mentioned, thrown from all positions. Overhand, sidearm, three-quarters arm, so he's got them all.
1-1 pitch is fouled off to the right and upstairs. It is 1-2. No score. The American League leadoff batter in the ball game, Brooks Robinson, now at bat. Juan Marichal, as we saw him early, Tony, did not get off to a good start, and at that time did not appear to be throwing as hard as he's begun to lately. Some say it's because he came late to spring training. Nevertheless, he was trying to get by on his breaking pitches, of which he's got an assortment. Sidearm this time, and poked on 1 hop to Mazeroski at second. The throws to Cepeda for the first out.
And Brooks hit the ball well. Line drive, as you mentioned, 1 hop to Mazeroski in a difficult play. Not a short hop nor a long hop to Mazeroski. What is noted as an in-between hop. A very difficult play to come up with.
Here's Rod Carew. And listen to the story of Rod Carew, who is hitting .313 with 6 home runs and 31 RBIs. 2 years ago, he was the All-Star second baseman in the Florida State League. Last year, he was the All-Star second baseman in the Carolina League. This year, he is the All-Star second baseman for the American League. Carew, a left-handed batter. Facing Marichal, who gives him the big kick, and the ball is outside and low, ball 1. Carew, a week ago, played in the first game with the Minnesota Twins against the Chicago White Sox in their important series, but then on Saturday and Sunday, for the second and third and fourth games, was doing military duty. He's now back to play in the All-Star game. Hits one to the opposite field. Back goes Lou Brock. On his horse at the raining track, and has it at the warning track, and Carew is nearly to second base.
And Jim, we didn't realize that Carew has that kind of power. He hit it to left field, the opposite field for him, and Brock hit the fence as he was about to catch the ball. Early in the year, we saw Carew, and he had a lot of infield hits. He can run very well, but since then, in the past few weeks, has been hitting the ball hard, has a few home runs, extra base hits, so he's coming around very well for Minnesota.
And now another left-handed swinger, Tony Oliva, steps in with 2 down in the scoreless first inning of the All-Star game from Anaheim, California. Oliva in All-Star play. This is his third start. He is 1 for 10, a double. He's hitting 100. Marichal ready with his first pitch. High, ball 1. Tony is only hitting .260, but nevertheless, Oliva in his last 8 games has 14 hits and 33 times at bat, and is hitting at a .424 clip. His new manager, Cal Elmer of the Twins, is convinced he will again hit 300 this year. Marichal is ready and throws, and Oliva's bat goes clear into the National League All-Star dugout. As he swings and misses, it is strike 1.
And Jim, they talk about one of the secrets of a good hitter is being relaxed up at the plate. And anytime you see a hitter throw the bat, and Clemente does this often too, it means he's real relaxed. Those hands and arms are very free. He's got that nice loose grip on the bat, and yet firm enough to hit the ball solidly. And you saw Oliva throw that bat a long way into the dugout.
And naturally, someone picked up a white towel and waved it back. We surrender. 1-1 the count to Oliva. 2 down. First inning, no score. Marichal is ready with a big kick and throws this one outside. It is 2-1. In numbering the pitches, this seems improbable, but Major League ball players, coaches, and managers will tell you that Marichal has about 8 different pitches if you combine his pitches with his assortment of delivery. Sidearm, three-quarter, and overhand. 2-1 now to Oliva. Crowd relatively quiet as Oliva goes for a low pitch, swings and misses. It is 2-2.
Jim, that appeared to be the first screwball that Marichal has thrown. Took a little bit off it, and Oliva was way out in front of the pitch.
Armin Killebrew on deck. At this time of the day, in right field, the right fielder will have a little trouble because the sun is just right. that get in your eyes as you go for those high flies to right field. It will also affect the first and second baseman. Marichal, this one is foul tipped by Oliva, and this time his bat is fielded by Cepeda at first base. But he did get a bit of the ball, and the count remains 2-2.
We mentioned earlier about defensive baseball, and Tony Oliva is one of the most difficult hitters there is to play in the big leagues. He can take the inside pitch, hit it down the left field line, or he might pull it, and he can do the same with the outside pitch. So any defensive infield play is very difficult to position yourself against a hitter like Tony Oliva.
The National League got one hit in the top of the first inning, a scratch hit. The American League is yet to scratch, no hits, 2 down in the first inning. Marichal with a 2-2 pitch. Hit high. Cepeda comes off first base with the glasses down near the seat and watches it fall about 3 rows up to the right. Count remains at 2-2. Nearly 46,000 here today, and the temperature at game time was 92 degrees, and the scoreboard in left center field still shows it to be
WNBC, AM and FM, New York.
Marichal against Dean Chance. In case you're just joining us, there is no score. The National League trying for an unprecedented 5th victory in a row. Marichal throws, and this one is fouled back to the screen again. Off the end of Oliva's bat. Ed Runge, in his 4th All-Star game, the American League umpire who is behind the plate. Sikori at first base is the senior man among the umpires as far as All-Star experience is concerned. This is his 5th game. Miller, the American League at second. Burkhardt of the National League at third. Ashford of the American League down the right field line. Kalakoutis of the National League down the left field line. 2-2 pitch. Marichal throws hard and inside and gets him on the corner and strikes him out. First strikeout of the ball game. No runs, no hits, no errors, none left. At the end of 1, the American League nothing, the National League nothing.
You've got an itch to switch to one of those new longer cigarettes, but there's only one hitch. Which to switch to? Switch to the new Super King Size Winston. Is there any other? After all, anyone can make a cigarette long, but
it's not how long you make it, it's how you make it long.
And how does Winston make it long? With an extra measure of that famous good taste that has made Winston America's largest selling cigarette. So if you've got an itch to switch to a long cigarette, but don't know which to switch to, remember,
it's not how long you make it, it's how you make it long.
Switch to the new Winston Super King.
It should, it's Winston.
We pause 30 seconds for station identification.
Businessmen, do you think temporary office help is expensive? If you do, you don't know about Alston Temporary Services. To use them, you pay only one low rate that covers everything. Payroll, taxes, insurance, bonding, and testing. Alston Temporary Services do not cost you money. They save you money. Look into it. Look up Alston, that's O-L-S-T-E-N, in the white pages of your phone book. Listen to the up-to-the-minute traffic reports all weekend long on WNBC, AM and FM, New York.
Richie Allen, the first batter in the top of the second, and he swings and misses on the first pitch from Dean Chance, strike 1. Allen will be followed by Joe Torre and Bill Mazeroski. The only hit of the ball game, an infield hit by Roberto Clemente that bounced high to Harmon Killebrew. Chance comes right back outside and low, and it is 1-1 to Allen. Richie is hitting .314.
And many of these National League players consider Allen the strongest man in the world. To hear them talk, and there
goes back in center field, Tony Oliva, and watching it go for the home run. National League leads 1-0. And that ball went between dead center field, which is 406, and the 393 sign, and went way back in the bleachers. So, Jim, that ball probably carried 420 feet or better. And Tony Kubek, I'm sure you will always remember that just before he hit it, you said that many consider Richie Allen to be the strongest man in baseball.
Jim, he took an outside and low slider, what looked like a very good pitch, and appeared to just wave at it, but he used a very heavy bat, about 40 ounces, and the ball just jumped out of the ballpark.
The National League now leads 1-0, and here's Joe Torre, always a home run threat himself, hitting .317. Dean Chance throws high inside to Torre, and it is ball 1. Chance this year has won 11 ball games, remember. Opening for the American League ground ball. Carew at second base will have this. Tosses to Killebrew, and that's the first out of the second inning.
And Jim, Joe Torre on his way down to first base was not running well at all. He's limping pretty much, so he may not see much more action in this ball game.
Bill Mazeroski, the batter, hitting .293, playing second base from the Pittsburgh Pirates. And every time I'm with you, Tony, and I see Mazeroski, I can only think of the 1960 World Series.
Well, if it had to be done, I'm glad it was another Pollock that hit that home run to beat.
Mazeroski and Kubek, quite a pair in the 1960 series. Here is Bill hitting .293, swinging and missing at the first pitch from Dean Chance. Strike one. From Maz, this is his 7th All-Star game, his 6th start. 2 for 15, hitting .133 at All-Star play. Chance back, ground ball. This is Petroselli at shortstop, who throws quickly to first base, and there are 2 out. And that will bring up another shortstop, Gene Alley. Alley, born and raised in Richmond, Virginia, was 27 years old yesterday. This is his 9th season in the professional ranks. The 3rd as a regular with the Pirates. He hit .289 last year, the best of the shortstops, and this year he is an all-star shortstop, his first game, and yet he was the leading vote getter in both leagues. Swing, foul tips the ball. It is strike one. 1-0 to score. The National League leads on the leadoff home run in the second inning of Richie Allen. Dean Chance pitching now to Gene Allen. 3/4, this one hit to right center field. Over comes Canigliaro and has it for the 3rd out. 1 run on the home run by Richie Allen. 1 hit, no errors, none left. The score in the middle of the second. The National League won, the American League nothing.
Quite a bit of money, and it's not necessary for the type of driving he does.
We told Mr. Bethel that doesn't happen at B.F. Goodrich because we give you a gadget called the Tire Calculator. It asks questions about how fast you drive and how much you drive. Then it tells you which BFG tire suits you best and costs you least.
That sounds like a very good idea and a very helpful one, but you can be sure you'll be copied.
He may be right, but right now the only place you'll find the Tire Calculator is at B.F. Goodrich, the straight talk tire people.
When you're ready for some straight talk about tires, just drop into any B.F. Goodrich store or dealer. Look in the yellow pages for the name of the one nearest you. Well, we move to the bottom of the second inning, and the very first man to come to bat is the man who, as Richie Allen put the National League in front, could put the American League in a tie. His name is Harmon Killebrew. And Killebrew, as we said before, is setting all-star records today by being the only player to be selected to start at 3 different positions. He's been in the outfield, he's been selected for third base, and today he is playing first base. This is his 7th All-Star game altogether, and quite a record he has. 6 for 14, hitting at .429. He has 2 home runs, and if you look back through the record books, there's nobody that has hit home runs more frequently per times at bat, except Babe Ruth, aside from Harmon Killebrew. Killebrew of the Minnesota Twins, hitting .259, 22 home runs this year, leads the American League in RBIs with 62. He was surpassed on Sunday for the American League lead in home runs by Frank Howard, who has 2 of them and now has 24. Marichal working to Killebrew, and Killebrew takes high from Marichal. There's one that time, Tony, came completely off the mound.
That's right. Many of the American League clubs, Jim, pull a complete shift on Killebrew. That is, they send their second baseman over to the third base side of second. The National League is not doing this now, although Alley is playing him very strongly in the hole.
Marichal throws again high and outside to Killebrew. It is 2-0. Juan Marichal, like few other pitchers, has great control. Usually control is the name of the game, and Marichal this year has struck out quite a few players, 137, but he's walked very few. There is strike one.
Killebrew in the past 2 years has become more of a smart hitter. He was a free swinger pretty much up until the last couple of years. Now he waits for his pitch. He does not try to pull everything. You can go to the opposite field at times.
Here's a broken bat. Looped and back at third base, it falls foul. And I'm sure, Tony, that he broke his bat. The bat boy is already out to pick it up. It'll be 2-2 to Harmon Killebrew, who now goes after a new bat. As for Juan Marichal, as we said, 137 strikeouts this year. He has only walked 30 men. Killebrew is now in the dugout, selecting his next bat. Tony Canigliaro and Carl Yastrzemski, the 2 boys from the surging Boston Red Sox, will be the next to bat. Bottom of the second inning here at Anaheim Stadium, the 38th All-Star game. To score, the National League won on Richie Allen's home run, and the American League nothing.
Jim, it has been said many times that these players that come to the All-Star game would rather have 3 days off, don't come here to win. When you see a fellow like Joe Torre behind the plate limping badly down to first base, when you see a Denny LeMaster who has a full ribcage muscle, has volunteered to pitch, you wonder how right these people are when they say things like this.
2-2 to Killebrew, the leadoff batter in the bottom of the second inning, and Marichal taking his time at the sign and is now ready. Sidearm delivery fouled back by Killebrew. It is still 2-2. And of course, after this All-Star game, we go into what is popularly known as the second half of the season in the American League. The White Sox leading by 2 over Detroit, 2.5 over the Minnesota Twins. The National League, the Cardinals 3.5 games up on Chicago. Killebrew fouls another one off to the right. It is still 2-2. The White Sox will open their second half against Cleveland at Cleveland on Thursday, and the St. Louis Cardinals go home and will face the Pittsburgh Pirates. 6-5 many to win the National League pennant. 2-2 the count to Killebrew. Overhand pitch this time. It misses outside. It is 3-2. Killebrew, since we have brought up the possibility of his tying the game possibly with a home run, has not had a home run in his last 15 ball games, which for Harmon is quite unusual. Here's a 3-2 pitch. Ground ball. Richie Allen comes over from third, scoops it up, takes his time, throws to first, and Killebrew is the first out in the American League's second inning. Here is Tony Conigliaro hitting .290. This is Tony's first All-Star game. And Tony is one of the reasons why the Red Sox are doing so well in the American League this year. The Red Sox now in the first division, 6 games in back of the Chicago White Sox and surging. Tony has 13 home runs on the year, 46 RBIs. 1 down in the bottom of the second. The National League 1, the American League nothing.
Jim, now down in the American League's bullpen, we have the first of any kind of activity. Jim McLaughlin is beginning to warm up down there for the American League, so he may be the next pitcher for Hank Bauer.
McLaughlin, of course, from the California Angels with 5 shutouts. He and Tommy John of the White Sox lead the American League. Marichal pitches to right center field. Clemente comes in, calls for it, and has it with a basket catch for the second out. And that will bring up Carl Yastrzemski hitting .324. Yastrzemski last year hit 16 home runs. This year, thus far, he already has 19, 56 RBIs. And he's leading the league in hits with 92. Left-handed swinger to step in against Juan Marichal. Takes low for Marichal, ball 1. This is Carl's first start. He was selected in 1965, but was injured and did not play. He was selected again last year, but did not play. He did play in 1963 as a substitute. Marichal ready with a 1-0 pitch. Swing and a miss by Yastrzemski. It is 1-1. National League 1, American League nothing. Bottom of the second, 2 out, none on.
And that was a screwball once more by Marichal. He threw several to a leadoff, threw one to Yastrzemski that pitch, and he has him way out in front. Screwball breaking away from the left-hand hitter, down at times, and with a good motion that Marichal has, he's fooling them quite a bit.
Juan is ready once more, and the 12-game winner throws, and strike 2 as Yastrzemski swings. Well, it's 8 2/3 innings now of scoreless ball that Marichal has pitched in his All-Star career, and he's trying to make it 9 in a row. He has won 2 games, remember, and could win this one, and could tie Lefty Gomez as the only men in history to have won 3 All-Star games. We shall see. Swing and a miss as Yastrzemski strikes out, the second strikeout for Marichal. A run, no hit, no errors, none left. And at the end of 2, the National League 1, the American League nothing. Do blondes really have more fun? Well, I don't know, but I do know this. People who drive the 67 Dodge Coronet sure do. Dodge Coronet is a moving kind of car. It has a big, successful look. And hidden beneath all of that luxury is its surprisingly low price. For once, you don't have to burn your budget in order to have a luxury look and a luxury ride. Inside, you'll find the plushnesss of all vinyl trim, foam-padded seats, and rich carpeting. And if you really want to live it up, step into the Coronet 500. It's got a true sports flair with bucket seats and center console. Whichever Coronet you prefer, you can customize it with a wide choice of options, like air conditioning, power brakes, and steering. The
A lively choice of engine runs from the economical 225 cubic inch 6 to the optional 383 4-barrel V8. Coronet, new luxury at a low price. See all the Coronet models at your Dodge dealer. Home of the good guys in the white hat.
Certain spots, so we'll see if their pregame strategy holds true throughout this ball game.
Juan Marichal takes strike one from Dean Chance. 1-0 the score. Marichal pitched 9 innings on Saturday and beat the Dodgers. So he is pitching with just a couple of days of rest. Chance pitched right in height. Marichal goes for an outside pitch, went all the way around on it, and it's strike 2.
And Jim, these pitchers from opposing teams have pretty much of a code. They don't knock each other down, so to speak. They try not to sidearm each other, supposedly, but Chance has sidearmed Marichal 2 consecutive times, 2 breaking balls.
3/4, and Robinson backs up at third for the ground ball and throws to Carew at first, and Marichal is the first out in the top of the third. That will bring up Lou Brock, who grounded the third back in the first inning. The National League leads on the second inning leadoff home run by Richie Allen. The score is 1-0. Freehand behind the plate. Carew at first, Carew at second, Petroselli at short, Robinson at third. Yastrzemski in left, Oliva in center, Canigliaro in right. Dean Chance, the pitcher, ready to work to the left-handed hitting Lou Brock. Brock takes strike 1, and that was right down the middle.
Carew is coming from his second base position to almost halfway depth. Brooks Robinson on the fake punt attempt by Brock on the last pitch was about halfway between home plate and third base, so they're playing him for his tremendous speed.
Ground ball, Carew over to his right, has it, and throws low to Carew, but he digs it out for the second out. That will bring up Roberto Clemente, who has one of the 2 hits that the National League All-Stars have, and that was a chop right on or just in front of the plate that hopped high. Carew had it. No one was covering first base, and Clemente, who has speed of his own, beat it out for a hit. Later was forced by Hank Aaron. The sun has gone in momentarily, and the scoreboard tells us that it has dropped a degree in temperature. It is now 91. Hank Aaron on deck as Clemente stepped in. Clemente will be 33 years old next month. High from Dean Chance, ball 1. Hitting .381 in All-Star play before today. He's already 1 for 1. He is 9 for 22 as an All-Star player.
And Jim, you hear hitting instructors talk about certain basic fundamentals, not pulling your head or stepping out of the box or stepping in the bucket. And Clemente is one of those players that violates many of these fundamentals. He steps in the bucket, can hit the ball hard to the opposite field. I guess for some of the old-timers, it's reminiscent of Mel Ott.
Strike 1, and Chance ready to work again on the 1-1 pitch, and this one again catches the outside corner. It is 1-2. Clemente with 2 down in the third. National League 1, American League nothing. This, of course, will be the last inning that Dean Chance can work. Outside and low this time. Chance could lose the ball game. Hopeful, of course, that the American League can rally in the bottom of their third against Juan Marichal.
Clemente is the type of hitter that can look very bad on a breaking ball away from him and low, and the very next pitch he'll go out and liable to hit it to the opposite field out of the park. He's very difficult to pitch, so you have to mix him up.
Here's the 2-2 pitch, and this one is outside and low, hopping by freehand, and it is 3-2. There has not been a walk in the ball game yet. Dean Chance this year has struck out 115 and walked 40. And like Marichal, who has struck out 137 and walked 30, does have pretty good control, although it was control that got Chance in trouble last Friday night in the 9th inning against the Chicago White Sox and led to 2 unearned runs and has lost 2-1 to the White Sox in an important game. 3-2 the count now with Clemente waiting the 3-2 pitch from Dean Chance. Upstairs to the right. Bill Freehand, the Detroit catcher behind the plate for the American League, was the hit of the All-Star press conference yesterday when discussing trying to catch Dean Chance. Naturally, it's quite difficult for a catcher to step in and catch a pitcher that he's not caught before as Clemente strikes out. First strikeout for Chance. No runs, no hits, no errors. None left in the middle of the third. The National League 1 and the American League nothing. If you're like me, you like to keep some things for yourself. Your razor, your shaving cream, your guard, and I can't blame you. Trouble is, when you keep the right guard to yourself, you leave your family defenseless. And your family has a right to the right guard. It's a spray. They can all use it. Matter of fact, right guard is the perfect personal family deodorant because nothing touches you but the spray itself. So keep your razor, keep your shaving cream, but please share the right guard. It's the family thing to do. And now's the time to try new Gillette Foamy Shaving Cream. Gillette packs a mountain of smooth shaving comfort in every can of used Gillette Foamy. You get pillows of creamy, rich, blister-willing foamy lather that soaks deep down into your beard. Keeps it soft and moist right through your shave. Nobody makes a lather like Foamy. So moist, so rich, so creamy. And nobody makes a lather like Gillette. Jim Simpson with Tony Kubek and Buddy Blattner. We're moving to the bottom of the third inning. Bill Freehan, Rico Petrocelli, and I am sure a pinch hitter for Dean Chance. Chance will leave the ball game, having given up 2 hits, 1 run, struck out 1, and walked no one. And unless the American League ties it up or goes ahead, he could be the losing pitcher. Here's Bill Freehan of the Detroit Tigers, the catcher, hitting .275, leading off against Juan Marichal in the bottom of the third. Marichal ready with his first pitch, and it's fouled out of play, strike 1. Freehan was born and raised in Detroit. The player representative, went to the University of Michigan for a couple of years, got a big bonus, about $100,000, but then went back to Michigan in the offseason and got his degree. This is his 4th All-Star game and his 2nd start. He's 2 for 3 at bat, hitting .667. Last year, he had 12 home runs all year. This year, he's got 12 already. Marichal ready with the strike 1 pitch. Sidearm this time and fouled again up the screen and back of the plate. It is strike 2. Bill Freehan last year, the last couple of years, has hit .234. 3 years ago, he hit over .307. Last couple of years, he's been hit by pitch balls a couple of times. When he hit .307, he was hit 10 or 11 times. This year, with another good year, he has already been hit 12 times in the first half of the season. 2-strike pitch from Marichal. He's called out on strike.
Jim McLaughlin continues to warm up for the American League and looks like he will be the next pitcher that Hank Bauer will use. For the National League, Ferguson Jenkins, a right-hander of the Chicago Cubs, has gotten up, so it looks like he will be manager Walter Alston's second choice for the mound duty.
Here's Rico Petrocelli. Of course, McLaughlin, as we said, is from the California Angels and a favorite on with rest, and Ferguson Jenkins is the most rested man for the National League. Pregame is on deck now. High, Petrocelli. It could be that Rico Petrocelli, with a bruised wrist, some thought that he would not play at all today, could go out, and Pregame coming in to bat for Dean Chance could stay in, but we'll see. Here's the 1-ball pitch. Hit high in the air. A chance for Bill Mazeroski in short right field. The second baseman backs up and has it for the second out. The applause is for Jim Pregame, the shortstop of the California Angels, whose home here, of course, is in Anaheim, California. Pregame stepping in to bat for Dean Chance, hitting at .280 with 7 home runs, 24 RBIs. This is Jim's 3rd All-Star game. He started in '64, and he played last year. He's hitting .167 in All-Star play with 1 for 6. Pregame does have power. As we said, he already has 7 home runs. Comes up with 2 down in the bottom of the third. The National League leading 1-0 on Richie Allen's home run in the second. Marichal ready with a sidearm pitch, strike 1.
Pregame is one of the fine young players that has come along in the American League for a long time, and of course, the Angels have many of these good young players on their ball club. Pregame can hit with power to either field, has great range at short.
There's the ball pulled down the left field line. Another sidearm pitch from Marichal that Pregame got out in front of and lined very deep, but foul. It is strike 2.
Pregame, of course, is teamed with Bobby Knopp, the second baseman for the Angels, and they form as fine a double play combination as you'll ever want to see, ranking very close to Gene Alley and Bill Mazeroski of the Pittsburgh Pirates.
Two down in the third, 2 strikes to Fregosi, the bench hitter for Dean Chance. Marichal throws an off-speed pitch that stays low and goes right through the legs of Joe Torrey. Torrey was injured in a rundown, and Joe now goes out as though, I would imagine, Tony, he thought he was crossed up on the signs, but Marichal waved at him, and Joe is now coming back. Joe was injured in a rundown play against the Phillies a couple of weeks ago and missed quite a few games with the Braves. He was stepped on the back of his ankle. 1-2 now, the count for Fregosi. Marichal with another, so far, brilliant all-star pitching effort. He's allowed no hits. Struck out 3. Sidearm, low. Gets away from Torrey. It's 2-2.
And, Jim, now I believe they're going to have a conference. The pitch before the last one, Joe Torrey stepped out to his right as though he were going to receive a breaking ball, and the ball went off to his left. Marichal threw a fastball. Once again, he stepped out to his right for the breaking ball, and the ball bounced off his chest protector. He got another fastball, so they're getting their signs straightened out right now.
2-2 the count with 2 out. National League 1, American League nothing. Dean Chance has completed his chores. Juan Marichal can pitch no longer after this. As Tony has pointed out, most likely Jim McLaughlin of the California Angels will come in to pitch for the American League. Ferguson Jenkins of the Chicago Cubs for the Nationals. Here's the 2-2 pitch. The sidearm delivery. Drilled right back through the hole. And there's the first hit off Marichal. Fregosi takes the turn at first and comes back with a single.
And if you don't think that these Anaheim fans like that, just listen to this applause.
That brings up Brooks Robinson with 2 down in the third. And Robinson does have power. 8 home runs this year, 32 RBI. And the American League fans, as Tony said here at Anaheim, come to life. Their teams are trailing 1-0. Strike one on the outside corner from Marichal. The American League has lost its last 4 All-Star encounters in a row and are trailing 1-0 right now. Strike one pitch from Marichal is high. It is 1-1 to Brooks Robinson. On deck is Rod Carew, should he get the chance. Now the sun has come back out again, but the temperature's dropped another degree. It is now 90. It was 92 at game time. There goes Fregosi, ground ball. Over comes Richie Allen to throw to first and has Brooks Robinson by 2 or 3 steps for the third out. So Marichal is all through, having given up 1 hit, striking out 3 and allowing no runs. No runs, 1 hit, no errors, 1 left. At the end of 3, the National League 1, the American League nothing.
Here's an announcement that answers today's problem of auto insurance cancellation. Allstate Insurance Company is announcing a revolutionary long-term renewal guarantee that applies to all auto insurance coverages. 60 days after your insurance is in force, you are protected by Allstate's 5-year renewal guarantee. You simply renew each year with the policy and rates then in effect. What's more, you're covered by Allstate's Good Driver Plan, with rates lowered or raised by your own family driving record. The 5-year guarantee stays in force as long as you and the other drivers in your family hold valid driver's licenses. In a nutshell, this means that during the guarantee period, you can cancel. Allstate can't, even if you have accidents. More than ever, you're in good hands with Allstate. Allstate's renewal guarantee is available in almost every state, but is not for assigned risks or commercial vehicles.
And now we pause 30 seconds for station identification.
Do you still think of temporary office personnel as just fill-ins at vacation time? Then think about this. Use Alston Temporary Services on a regular standby basis, and you can instantly staff up or down at any time. That means there's no need for costly overstaffing on permanent payroll. It'll pay you to look into it. Look up Alston, that's O-L-S-T-E-N, in the white pages of your phone book. All regularly scheduled programs canceled to bring you the All-Star Game on WNBC, AM and FM, New York.
Back at Anaheim Stadium as the 38th All-Star Game continues, we have pitching changes and changes of field, and Feldy the both. And they're both from the Angels, by the way. Here's also the voice of the California Angels, Buddy Blattner.
Jim, thank you. Travel now to the top half of inning number 4. The National League on top 1-0. In the batter's box, Hank Aaron. He's 0 for 1 in the ballgame. And on the mound, 23-year-old redhead, freckle-faced right-hander, Jim McLaughlin. A winner of 8 and a loser of 2 so far this year for the Angels. Hank Aaron, a Slashing type hitter up there in the pitch to him. Taken high for ball one. Underway in the top half of inning number 4. Hank Aaron, born in Mobile, now lives in Wisconsin. In his 14th Major League season at the age of 33. Already he has collected better than 2,500 hits. And the pitch. It's a curve and it's a beauty that spins in and evens the count at ball one and strike one. So Hank Aaron, still going strong at 33. Should reach the 3,000 hit plateau in his great career. Fastball swung on and lags hard. A diving stop by Pregame, and Jim can't make a play. Pregame now at short, diving towards third base to cut this one off. So it's part of play for Jim. It's a base hit for Hank Aaron. So Hank is on. He has a stolen base in this ball game. And here comes the baby bull, Orlando Cepeda, big, strong, right-handed hitter. He operates from a close stance and has that bat right down on the end. The outfield, the pop straight away, and of course deep. Hitting .356 this year in his 10th Major League season. Orlando Cepeda. The curveball is up too high, ball one. Nobody out here in the top of the 4th inning, and Hank Aaron at first base. The National League is batting, they lead 1-0. Cepeda with a .307 lifetime mark. Led the league in home runs with 46 back in 1961. The pitch to him. Swung on a ground ball. Third base. Brooks Robinson, the second one. To first base. And they get a pair. Well done. And a great pivot made here by Rod Carew, the rookie second baseman of the Minnesota Twins. The double play started by Brooks Robinson. And boy, can he handle that leather at third base.
That's about right, buddy. And of course, talking about McLaughlin, you've seen an awful lot of him. And he is a low ball pitcher, has a very good sinker. And of course, he gets a lot of ground balls, and his infielders get a lot of double play chances.
Certainly does. This young man has come of age since spring training. Here's the guy who has made the difference in the ballgame, Richie Allen. Powerful right-handed hitter. He homers from the far reaches of right center in the second. He takes a breaking ball for strike one. Richie Allen. And the next pitch. Swung on. He flares this one foul and out of play down the right field line. It'll settle in the lower tier. Strike two. Richie Allen, who in his 4th year now as a major leaguer, commands a salary of $75,000. The most ever paid a man in his 4th year of major league play. Third ball, and he kind of waves at this one, striking out. And cruising right to the top of the 4th inning here. Jim McLaughlin, strikeout number 1 for Jim. In the top of the 4th inning for the National League, no runs. They pick up a hit and nobody left on base. Score at the end of 3 1/2. The National League won, the American League nothing.
4-ply, 2-ply, and the first line in premium, I have no idea exactly what that means.
Bruce Herbert of Detroit admits he gets confused in tire stores.
When it comes to buying a tire, I just have to go along with what the salesman says.
We showed Mr. Herbert how he could pick out his next tires himself at B.F. Goodrich. You do it with the tire calculator. It asks you some questions about your driving, about the speeds and roads and so on. Then it tells you which BFG tire suits you best. What did Mr. Herbert think of this?
I think it's a very good idea. Very good. You can figure out exactly what kind of tire your car needs, which, as I said before, is something that's always confused me. I think it's a great idea.
A great idea. The tire calculator. Come in and try it at B.F. Goodrich, the straight talk tire people.
The Straight Talk Tire people are ready for you now at any B.F. Goodrich store or dealer. Check your yellow pages for the name of the one nearest you. Moving now to the bottom of the 4th inning, again, Buddy Black. All right, Jim, thank you. And on the mound for the National League, a tall, lean right-hander. Ferguson Jenkins, he's 6'5", gets a lot of leverage, and he can throw hard. 23 years of age, makes his home in Canada, Ontario. First man he'll face here in the last half of inning number 4 will be Rod Carew. And what a job this young man has done. Rod Carew, who was born in Panama and then moved into New York at high school age, and a rather strange thing, too. That Rod Carew was picked up by a Minnesota scout playing in Central Park, and was picked up by a part-time scout who was a policeman. And it was his area of Central Park in New York. And he has, Tony, to me, the softest pair of hands that I have seen in a long, long time. He has outstanding speed, good bat control, but defensively, those soft hands and a good arm.
That's right, Jim. Buddy, quality, rather. And, of course, Carew, is, as you mentioned, is very fast, hit from the left side. And Carew has been timed in the 100-yard dash in less than 9.7 seconds. So he can fly, and this National League defense will have to shade him in close.
All right, here we go. We view play in the last half of inning number 4. Rod Carew at the plate. In his rookie tour through the American League, his average is .313. He is 0 for 1 in this ball game, sending Lou Brock to the wall for his long drive in the first. Ferguson Jenkins is on the mound. And the big right-hander delivers. The pitch is swung on it high in the air down the right field line. Foul territory, and this one will drift out of play. Clemente in pursuit, but no chance for this one. Strike 1 to Rod Carew, to be followed by Tony Oliva, and then Harmon Killebrew.
Ferguson Jenkins has been a relief pitcher for the Chicago Cubs and manager Leo DeRocher for the beginning of this year and all of last year, but with Kenny Holtzman, a left-hander, going into the service, Jenkins has been put into the starting rotation and done very well.
He certainly has done just that. And his next pitch. The curveball bounces up there and gets away from Torrey, and the count moves on now to ball 1 and strike 1 on Rod Carew. The outfield is about straight away. The difference in the ballgame, the home run by Richie Allen in the second. National League 1, the American League nothing. And now the 1-1 delivery. Swung on a ground ball, foul outside first base, and this one close to the line. Ball 1 and strike 2. Well, the American League kind of talking about this year because they won in 1937, 1947, and 1957. So they think possibly, if form holds true, they could capture this one. And they trail by a run. Jenkins ready, and the big man delivers. The pitch is swung on and rolls foul back towards the base of the screen. No change in the count. It's ball 1 and strike 2. Nobody out and nobody on. Play here in the last half of inning number 4.
Jenkins pretty much is a fastball pitcher. He tries to overpower the hitters. Although this year he has come up with a little bit of a slow curve, which has made him much more effective.
Delivers outside now, and the count levels at 2-2 on Rod Carew. Rod now asking for the rosin bag. I can remember this spring. His manager, the manager of Jenkins, Leo DeRocher, telling us that this young man was going to be awfully good. And last year, with Philadelphia and the Cubs, Jenkins, a 6-game winner, he dropped 8. And he has come on strong as predicted. Pitch is swung on, fouled back up toward the press box. It's ball 2 and strike 2. And Rod Carew kind of pecking away up there at home plate. The manager of the California Angels, Bill Rigney, the coach's box is third. And the brat, the little guy, and quite a guy, Eddie Sankey, the manager of the White Sox, now in first place in the American League, the coach at first base. Ed Runge, who lives in San Diego, working behind the plate. And the pitch. Swung on. This one hit high in the air in the center field. It belongs to Hank Aaron. Hank is under it and hangs on to this one for out number 1. Here comes Tony Oliva. Tony, strikeout victim in the first. Tony from Cuba, 6'2". He weighs 190 pounds, 26 years of age. He led the American League in hitting his first 2 years. Last year, he was second. A lifetime average in the American League of .318. He's a great one. Takes a peek at a change of pace outside. Looks it over well. It's ball 1. 1 out and nobody on the last half of the 4th inning.
Oliva got off to a very slow start this year, mainly through injury problems. Torn rib cage muscle, pulled muscle in his leg, various other injuries. But he started to hit in about the last 2 or 3 weeks, has gotten his average up considerably.
He's just a good hitter, Tony. He'll be up there when the season is over. And now Jenkins bends a curveball across, so even the count at ball 1 and strike 1. Jenkins quickly ready, and the 1-1 delivery. Swung on, hit a long way, foul upstairs down the right field line. Ball 1 and strike 2. After once a year, mid-season, the stadium just becomes engulfed with greatness. Of course, the American League missing badly Frank Robinson and Al Kaline, the 2 top hitters in the American League. They're both out with injuries. The next delivery. And Tony Oliva kind of flicks this one foul upstairs on the left. He just sprays it away. So he stays alive up there. It's ball 1 and strike 2.
Tony Oliva is a good low fastball hitter, also a pretty good off-speed pitch hitter. He can hit the breaking ball and the slider. What most ball clubs try to do, buddy, and I don't know if the California Angels do too, is try to jam him, pitch him inside on the pitch with high fastballs. He has the ability to foul these pitches off, though, many times as he did this last one.
That's right, that widespread stance. And he'll go to the opposite field. A ground ball up the middle into center field for a base hit. Antonio Oliva is on. That is hit number 2 for the American League. The other one, a base hit smashed up the middle by Jim Fregosi in the third. Here's Harmon Killebrew, big man of the Minnesota Twins. And he is some kind of big and strong. 5 feet 11, 210 pounds. And Harmon now 31 years of age in his 11th full season in the major leagues. He has collected already 336 home runs. 5 times he has hit 40 or more home runs in a season. And 4 times he has led the American League. He swings at a curve, gets a piece of this one, and fouls it back toward the base of the screen. Strike 1 to Killebrew. As we view play here in the last half of inning number 4, 1 out, Antonio Oliva with outstanding speed at first base. On deck, Tony Canigliaro. Killebrew, none for 1 in the ball game. A straightaway stand. And squeezing the sawdust out that bat handle. There's those calling cards for Tony Oliva thrown by Jenkins, driving Tony back to the bag. The outfield spun toward left and deep. Curveball, and he plants this one foul up on the screen. It skids up there toward the press box. Strike 2.
And I think Harmon would like to have that pitch back, buddy, because it was a breaking ball that Jenkins got up in his eyes, and he had a very good cut at it. Was out in front of it perfectly, but just got under it slightly.
Oh, so right. He was a little bit off balance. Oliva, not a commanding lead off first base. The next pitch is up too high. A fastball thrown by Jenkins. It's ball 1 and strike 2. The biggest crowd ever in Anaheim Stadium should total around 46,000. Breaking stuff outside. It's ball 2 and strike 2 on Killebrew. Deep at third base is Richie Allen. So we have quite a contrast now in the pitching combination from the starters. Marichal and Chance with a lot of motion. 2 men working now with more fluid delivery. Slider over the outside corner. He's got him looking. And that is strikeout number 1 for Ferguson Jenkins. And here comes Tony Canigliaro. Tony, would you like to have this guy's chances as far as a career is concerned now in his 4th year in the major league, the age of 22?
Buddy, I'd like to have done in my entire 9-year major league career what he's done in just his short few. He's hit a lot of home runs. Has an ideal ballpark for him, a good pull hitter, and he can hit that fence in Fenway Park.
He certainly can. 84 home runs in his first 3 years. Curveball is too low. Ball 1. There are 2 outs. Antonio Oliva at first base. The National League 1, the American League nothing. Play in the last half of inning number 4.
And now Tony goes over to his first base coach, Eddie Stanker, to get straight on some signs. He possibly felt he missed the steal sign from the third base coach, Bill Rigney, so see if he's got it straightened out.
Fastball to Tony Canigliaro is inside for ball 2. Tony is 0 for 1, flying out to Roberto Clemente in shallow right center field in the second. The outfield is, of course, respecting his power. They're about straight away. Shaded just a bit into left center is the center fielder, Aaron. The 2-0 pitch. The runner starts. The pitch is missed. It's on to second base. They're going to get him. He's out at second base. So that wraps it up for the American League here in the last half of inning number 4. No runs, a base hit, and no one left on base. And the score at the end of 4. National League All-Stars 1, the American League All-Stars nothing. And now a word from Joe Garagiola.
In 1955, the key word for the Brooklyn Dodgers was first. They won the first 10 games of the season, setting the league record. They clinched the National League pennant on September 8th, the first team ever to do it that early. And they topped it all off by winning the World Series, bringing Brooklyn its first World Championship. 8 years earlier, in 1947, Chrysler Corporation scored a first of its own. In that year, Chrysler set up its Master Technician Service Conference, the oldest and largest training program in the auto industry. This conference, divided into monthly sessions held at local Chrysler, Plymouth, and Dodge dealers, keeps experienced technicians up to date on the latest service techniques. or even more advanced instruction, these sessions also receive visits from the Chrysler Mobile Training Center, sort of a technical school on wheels. All this adds up to the best possible care for your car and you. Customer care, and exclusive at your Chrysler, Plymouth, and Dodge dealers.
We roll right along in this ball game. It's now the top half of inning number 5. The National League on top 1-0. The difference, the home run by Richie Allen in the second. And he really pumped that one hard over the wall in deep right center field and into the bleachers. Joe Torre at the plate, the catcher of the Atlanta Braves, a right-handed hitter. McLaughlin delivers a ground ball to Jim Fregosi, a nice big convenient hop, and Jim throws out Torre, who is limping, threw him out by 40 feet. One man away, bringing to bat Bill Mazeroski. Bill is 0 for 1 in the ball game. He bounced out to the shortstop at that time, Rico Petroselli, in the second. From Greensburg, Pennsylvania, Bill Mazeroski in his 12th Major League season at the age of 30. Good curveball thrown here by Jim McLaughlin. Strike one. Dean Chance, touring through the first 3, gave up 1 run, the home run by Richie Allen. The next delivery by the redhead, and then he pumped it right down the middle. He threw it hard for strike 2. Jim McLaughlin, the age of 23, has come of age as a Major League pitcher. The 2-strike delivery, swung on a ground ball to Fregosi, digs it out, straightens up, and throws out Mazeroski. 2 outs here in the top of the 5th inning. And here comes Gene Alley, a young man who has come on strong in the past 2 years from Richmond, Virginia. And Gene was 27 years of age yesterday. Tall, slender, right-handed hitter. 2 outs and nobody on the top of the 5th. Alley is 0 for 1. The pitch by McLaughlin, the curve over the outside corner. Cracks this one over the outer edge of the plate for strike 1. Harry Walker, the coach at third. Herman Franks at first base. Fastball, he had him jammed, but it's inside. Ball 1 and strike 1.
Buddy, you've seen so many pitchers come up in your tenure as a broadcaster and seen so many with a great ability, that McLaughlin, but he seems to have that quality of maturity, that poise on the mound. Nothing seems to rattle him.
And this has come about in only the past 3 months, Tony. Still a young man just throwing the ball hard without much of a purpose. He had never had command of the ball game, and now he does. He's nice and free and easy out there. The count 2-1 on Alley, the next pitch. And he thunders it down the middle. And the redhead's thrown hard. Ball 2 and strike 2. He seemingly put it all together in the month of May. And it's unusual. This young man is now in his 6th year of professional pitching. It always just kind of flopped around. The 2-2 pitch, curveball, fouled back and out of play by Gene Alley. No change in the count. It's ball 2 and strike 2. There are 2 outs here in the top of the 5th inning. The National League 1, the American League nothing.
McLaughlin seems to be indicative of what's happening to this entire California ball club, doesn't he, buddy? This whole ball club could be said of. They are coming of age. They're putting things together and winning a lot of ball games.
They sure are. They've won 22 of their last 35. There's the pitch in for called strike 3. So McLaughlin records strikeout number 2, and the National League down without commotion here in the top of the 5th inning. Down in order, nothing across. And the score at the end, the 4.5, National League 1 and the American League nothing. Well, now that summer is in full swing, are you spending much time outdoors? You know, sun and wind and swimming can be great in limited doses, but too much can leave your eyes smarting and bloodshot. Now, don't you let tired eyes slow you down. Get help fast with Double Action 2020 Eye Drops. You know, just a couple of drops of 2020 will relieve and clear up tired, bloodshot eyes in minutes. You see, 2020 is medicated and acts as a decongestant to reduce swelling and redness. Close work, bright lights, or blazing sun, smoke or smog, you know, any of these external irritations can cause pain, swelling, and redness. And Double Action 2020 soothes fast, relieves fast, cools and clears your tired eyes. And the 2020 applicator bottle is easy to carry with you and easy to use anywhere and any time at all. So this summer, after your eyes are tired, use Double Action 2020. And just remember to carry along the 2-way eye drop. Soothing, cleansing 2020. ready for action now in the last half of inning number 5. Tony Canigliaro waves at a curve, doesn't get it, strike one. Tony is 0 for 1. Now catching for the National League, Tom Haller of the San Francisco Giants. Carl Yastrzemski to follow. Another curve, same result. Swung on and missed by Tony. It's strike 2. Ferguson Jenkins is on the mound. Big right-handed pitcher from the Chicago Cubs. Yes, sir, the Angels have won 25 of their last 33. Pitch is swung on it high in the air, back toward the screen in pursuit. Tom Haller looks up, and this one lands atop the screen. And the count remains strike 2.
Funny, we've got a little more activity in the American League's bullpen. A left-hander, Gary Peters of the White Sox, has begun to throw down there, so he may be the next pitcher for manager Hank Bauer.
So the parade of talent continues. It's strike 2 on Tony Canigliaro. Jenkins, now on top of the mound, looks in to accept the sign from Tom Haller, and the 2-strike delivery. Swung on and missed. He's got him on strike. Strikeout number 2 for Jenkins. You know, Tony, it is kind of strange. With all this awesome display of power and talent on hand, still the command of the game is that little patch of real estate right out there in the center of the diamond. Pitchers seem to control in games like this.
That's about right, and of course, I saw the Los Angeles Dodgers beat the New York Yankee Ball Club 4 games straight on the strength of their pitching, and of course that was the year that Maris had a good year, Mantle had a good year, Howard had a good year, so that good pitching will usually beat that good hitting.
Carl Yastrzemski now at the plate. He whacks one foul on the first base line for strike 1. Carl, a strikeout victim in the second, facing Juan Marichal. The next delivery, fastball. This one grabs the outer edge, about fell high for strike 2. And Jenkins pumping hard. 0-2 to Carl Yastrzemski. Now in his 7th year of play with the Boston Red Sox. He's 27 years of age. The curve is low. Ball 1, strike 2. And Yastrzemski, a complete ball player. A great outfielder with a strong throwing arm, and he has speed. $100,000 bonus, baby. That time he attended the University of Notre Dame. Fastball outside. It's 2-2. 1 out of nobody on. The last half of the 5th inning, the National League won, the American League nothing.
Yastrzemski has never had this good home run start, and apparently he's throwing the ball more this year. He's gotten away from trying to hit that left field fence in Fenway Park.
Absolutely. A line drive towards center field. Aaron comes in. The ball gets by him. Yastrzemski towards second base. And he'll check in there. And quite likely they'll finish this as a double. As the line drive kind of knuckleballing out towards center field, Hank Aaron came in, tried to pick it off his shoe top. It gets away from him. It'll be a double for Carl Yastrzemski. Yes, you were mentioning, Tony, about him pulling the ball. He is now. He had always previously gone to the opposite field. His high as a major leaguer is 20 home runs, and already this year he has collected 19. The tying run now at second base and 1 out. Tying run being carried by Yastrzemski. Bill Freehand at the plate. He checks his swing and takes low and outside for ball 1. Freehand struck out in the 3rd. Bill off to a good start this year. The past 2 seasons, he has just been battered and beaten to a pulp. Now with injuries periodically and damaging injuries the past 2 years. An outstanding receiver is Bill Freehand, the Tigers. Curveball misses the outside corner. 2-0 to Bill Freehand. The reason you have activity now in the bullpen is Jim McLaughlin is scheduled next. A 2-0 pitch. Over the inside corner, and Bill Freehand not real happy with the call made here by plate umpire Ed Runge. Ball 2 and strike 1. No, the American League home run leader, in fact, the Major League home run leader is Frank Howard, who was not selected to play in this dream game. But just swung on it, popped up. Shallow in left field, and drifting back on the outfield grass is Gene Alley, and he puts this one away for out number 2. comes the mix. Walter Alston of the National League. Now, I think doing a nice thing. He has called a conference at the mound, and I believe this is called primarily to allow all these fans to just have open vent to their emotions regarding Mickey Mantle and to give him the ovation that, of course, he so rightfully deserves at the age of 36 now in his 17th year of play with the Yankees.
Buddy, another thing about that is manager Walter Alston is playing to win also, and he wants to go out to talk to Jenkins. There is a base open. The man on second base with 2 outs, a right-hander coming up to bat after Mantle in Pregame. But Alston also knows that these people want to see Mickey hit. So let's see what decision he made.
That's right. Mickey Mantle, deep in the batter's box. He swings and doesn't get it. A fastball thrown by Jenkins. 4 strike 1. Mickey Mantle, better than 500 home runs in his tremendous career. And Mick said now we'll take dead aim on 600. He's feeling good this year, playing at first base. Fastball low and away. Ball 1 strike 1. There are 2 outs here in the last half of the 5th inning. Carl Yastrzemski at second base. The National League 1, the American League nothing. Pregame on deck should Mantle keep things going here in the last half of the 5th. The outfield toward right and deep. Fastball. Swung on and missed by the Mick, and he had a violent swing at this one. Fastball about letter high. It's ball 1, strike 2. So Mick had one thought in mind: to put the American League on top, 2-1. Now he's choking the bat slightly. And the pitch. Fastball high and away. The count evens at 2-2 on Mickey Mantle hitting for Jim McLaughlin. And young Jim working 2 innings in this ball game, giving up no runs, only 1 hit, and facing but 6 men in 2 innings, striking out a pair.
We are. A left-hander from Houston has begun to warm up now, buddy, in the National League's bullpen.
And the 2-2 pitch. Fastball over the outside corner, and Mantle is called out on strike. So that ends the threat of the American League here in the last half of the 5th inning. And strikeout number 3 for Ferguson Jenkins. No runs, a base hit, a double by Yastrzemski and a man left on base, and the score at the end of 5 remained. The National League All-Stars 1, the American League All-Stars nothing.
Hey, Mitch, suddenly I've got an itch to switch to one of those new longer cigarettes. Great, Skitch. Then switch. But there's only one hitch, Mitch. I don't know which to switch to.
Well, pardon the pitch, but there's only one long cigarette to which you should switch, Skitch.
Which, Mitch?
Which? The new Super King Size Winston. Is there any other? After all, anyone can make a cigarette long, but
It's not how long you make it. It's how you make it long.
And how does Winston make it long? With an extra measure of that famous good taste that has made Winston America's largest selling cigarette. So if you've got an itch to switch to a long cigarette but don't know which to switch to the new Winston Super King.
It's good.
The Big A, Anaheim Stadium in Anaheim, California. It's a 1-0 ball game, the National League, and Gary Peters, the left-hander of the Chicago White Sox, is now on the mound.
Now coming out of the dugout, buddy, I'll let you tell who it is.
Well, I think they'll know from the applause in just a moment. The say hey guy, it's Willie Mays. Ferguson Jenkins now at the plate, and on the mound, Gary Peters. So far this year, Gary has won 10 and lost 4. Fastball grabs the outer edge for strike 1.
Peters has a very good sinker, also a hard slider, and he's a big, slow overhand curveball to a lot of left-handed hitters.
And he can kind of once in a while kind of kick up and throw hard. He throws the fastball right on by Jenkins here for strike two. Willie Mays to follow. The two-strike pitch is on the way. It's a curveball. This one gets away from Gary. Floats high and away. Ball one and strike two. The top of the sixth. Each ball club with 3 hits. But the big one for the National League, the home run hit by Richie Allen to lead things off in the second. And Jenkins now walking back for a new weapon. I don't think he can be that strong, Tony, checking his swing and break a bat.
I couldn't see. Possibly there was some tape on the handle of his bat that was too close to the barrel of the bat against regulations, and Ed Runge, the plate umpire, saw something wrong, obviously, as he sent Ferguson Jenkins back to the dugout.
All right, we're set to go. Ball one and strike two to Jenkins. Gary Peters delivers. Again, the curveball slips out of the side of his hand, traveling high and away for ball two. It's 2-2. He's right-handed all the way, and the pitch swung on, and he flares this one foul into the dugout of the National League All-Stars. Scattered a little talent.
Peters has had plenty of rest. We saw him pitch the ball game against the Minnesota Twins in Comiskey Park at Heidi. So
he's a right field. Back goes Caniglio near the track to capture this one. Out number one. And Jenkins gets a good peek to the ball. There's it a long way into right field. Here comes Willie Mays. Fastball just above the knees toward the outer edge for strike one. Willie better than 2,600 hits in his great career. 542 home runs as he began the season. Fastball swung on and missed. A little buzz to this fastball up around the letters of Willie Mays. One out, nobody on the top of the sixth. Willie Mays, who now lives in San Francisco. He was born in Alabama. Fastball got him on strike. Just got a needling that outside corner and just above the knees of Willie. So his pattern here was in and out and up and down. Moved the ball around in excellent fashion against Willie Mays. And for Gary Peters, that is strikeout number one. And here comes Roberto Clemente, an infield base hit in the first. When Dean Chance on the mound at that time kind of got mesmerized and didn't go over to cover, although I think with the speed of Clemente, he would have beaten it anyway. Roberto Clemente. An outstanding hitter. One of the very best. He takes inside ball one. As Tony had mentioned previously, so many different hitting styles on display by these talented men today. There's no one set way. And Clemente, most unconventional. He swings, a violent swing here, and drives it foul up against the screen. It's ball one and strike one. And it's good for the young men, I think, around the country, too, to see a ball game like this, Tony, because they then see that there is no set and patented way to walk to the plate and go about the work of hitting.
That's right, buddy. A young boy has to realize his own capabilities, his strength. Everything else has to be considered, so he has to use the tools that he was given.
Oh, strike two on Roberto Clemente. Heading to the National League here in the top of the sixth with 2 outs and nobody on. Ball one, strike two, the count, and the pitch for the left-hander. Carew, and it's a beauty. Got him looking. Strikeout number two. So Gary Peters knocks down the National League in order here in the top of the sixth. 3 up, 3 down, nothing across. And the score at the end of 5 1/2, the National League 1 and the American League nothing.
Yeah, I heard a man say to me, and it kind of threw me off completely, where this is a 4-ply tire, and then another one will tell you this is a full 4-ply tire, and I don't know still what...
That's George Medwar of Boston. He was telling us about his experience buying tires.
I go, I look for a tire, if a fella tells me it's a good tire, he never asks me what kind of driving I do, where I drive, how I drive.
We told Mr. Medwar, come to B.F. Goodrich, ask you all those questions with our tire calculator, and the calculator will tell you which B.F. Goodrich tire suits you best and costs you least. What did he think of our tire calculator?
It gives somebody an idea more realistically how to choose a tire. I think it's very helpful.
Very helpful. The tire calculator. Try it next time at B.F. Goodrich, the Straight Talk Tire people.
yourself to a tire calculator and some straight talk. Danny B.F. Goodrich Store Dealers. The one nearest you is listed in your yellow tape. Now the bottom of the sixth inning, again, Buddy Blackman.
All right, Jim. Some changes defensively for the National League as the American League comes to bat down the last half of the sixth. Willie Mays is now stationed in center field, and Hank Aaron has moved around to left. In the batter's box for the American League, Jim Pregame. Jim is 1 for 1. And Jenkins delivers to him, and Jim takes high, ball 1. The spark plug of the Angels, Jim Pregame. Still a young man, but now in his 6th year of Major League play at the age of 25.
And, Buddy, looking over the American League race, who would have thought the Angels would be in the position they are right now? As the same goes for the Boston Red Sox, actually. They've got some fine young ball players and are threatening for a pennant.
That's right. Now ball 1 and strike 1 to Jim. Yes, the Angels buried in last place on June the 7th. Good sinking fastball thrown here by Jenkins. Jim swings over it, and the count is 1-2. Brooks Robinson will follow, and then Rod Carew. Ferguson Jenkins on the mound, doing quite a job. Juan Marichal works the first 3. Jim swings at a bad ball, doesn't get it. And he strikes out. Strikeout number 4 for Jenkins. And here comes Brooks Robinson. Brooks, no luck in 2 tries. Twice is rolled out in the infield.
Well, the National League, Bob Gibson is up now, Buddy, in the bullpen, so we'll see if Walter Alston will use him.
The curveball swung on and missed by Brooks Robinson, and Brooksy had his pitch there. Curveball thrown high by Jenkins. And Brooks wasn't fooled, just kind of swung right on through it. Strike 1. Next pitch is swung on a long drive into left field. The ballpark may not hold it. It is gone. It's a home run in a brand new game. Brooks Robinson of the Baltimore Orioles, their great third baseman, sails one out of here in left field. And it's a 1-1 ball game. So it's been long ball out here today. The National League run, a home run by Richie Allen. So Brooks Robinson gets the American League on board, and they draw even now in this ball game in the last half of the sixth. It's 1-1. Rod Carew swings and clears it off foul on the left field side, the mezzanine section for strike 1.
Buddy, the high breaking ball that Robinson got, and you said was his pitch, and he just missed. He got right back once more and hit it out of the ballpark.
He sure did. Carew is none for 2. He swings at a bad ball here. Tried to check his swing, but he figures on this one for strike 2. It's a 1-1 ball game the last half of the sixth. 1 out. Tony Oliva will follow. And Jenkins ready now. The 2-strike delivery. High and away. 1-2. Rod Carew at the age of 21 and a rookie. Makes the American League All-Star team. It's quite a story. Quite a rise to fame for this young man who now makes his home in New York. Extremely pleasant young man, I might add. Curveball is low at 2-2. Because he was reared in Panama, he speaks Spanish, of course, but he's always gone to English-speaking schools, so he's fluent in both Spanish and English.
Carew wearing a golf glove on his left hand, which so many of the players do, even in this hot weather.
And now a curveball swung on and missed, and Carew is down on strikes, and quite a glittering strikeout record for Ferguson Jenkins as he put strikeout number 5 in the book. Here's Tony Oliva. Tony is 1 for 2. He is struck out and then rolled one through the middle into center field for a base hit facing Jenkins in the 4th inning. Now the last half of the 6th. Fastball sails high and away to this left-handed hitter. Ball 1.
Buddy, you're mentioning these golf gloves that so many hitters wear. I was about to say they wear them in the cold weather to keep the sting out of their bat, but they start off rather well at the plate. It becomes a superstition, I think.
That's right. Curveball waved at here by Tony Oliva. Ball 1 and strike 1. And some will tell you they get a better grip on the bat, too. It's possibly what I needed. 20 years too late. The 1-1 pitch. He threw this one by him. Kind of a feeble swing by Tony Oliva, evidently guessing wrong. And it's ball one and strike two, and Jenkins has had good stuff. He made one bad pitch, a high curveball to Brooks Robinson. And Brooksy clears the wall in left field. It's now a 1-1 ball game. And this has been a honey. The 1-2 pitch. Third ball, he gets a piece of this one and pounds it out of the glove of the catcher, Tom Haller, so he stays alive up there. No change in the count. It's ball one and strike two.
We were talking about the fairness of this ballpark, buddy, and I was talking to some of these hitters from both leagues about the background. It's a very good background.
It is that, for that tremendous canvas in dead center field, painted a deep green. Oliva fouls the pitch away. This ball was way inside. Now, players from all ball clubs, Tony, we've experienced this now in 2 years here in Anaheim. They love to play here. The temperature is just about right in the evenings, around 65 degrees, 70. And it is a fair ballpark. It's a gorgeous ballpark in a tropical setting, complete with palm trees and all. Fastball swung on and missed, and Jenkins strikes out Tony Oliva. They strike out number 6 for him, so Jenkins working 3 innings, strikes out 6. Here in the last half of the 6th inning, for the American League, 1 run on 1 hit, the home run by Brooks Robinson, and no one left on base. And the score at the end of 6 now reads the American League 1 and the National League 1. Well, right now, let's take a break and talk about another kind of excitement. It's something youthful and lively, and it has a great shape. Now, you say, what is it? It's the 67 Dodge Dart. Now, this is a big compact for you. Big on luxury and comfort, with foam-padded seats and full carpeting. The Dart model lineup is big, too. There are 2-door hardtops, 2- and 4-door sedans, and, of course, the fun way of getting out in the sun, the ever-popular Dodge Dart convertible. And now, speaking of excitement, have you seen the new Dart GT hardtop? Now, it comes with the things that you would expect a sports car to have, like bucket seats and center console, and a choice of spirited engines, up to the optional 4-barrel, 273 cubic inch V8. So pick yourself a Dart, any Dart. It's the quickest way out of the dull driving rush. Dart looks like fun, and it certainly is. The price? Well, that's the only small thing about a Dodge Dart. So see it soon at your Dodge dealer. The good guys in the white hats. At the end of 6 innings of play, the National League 1, the American League 1, we're set for action now in the top of the 7th. And again, to call it for you, here comes Jim Simpson.
Thank you, Bud Blattner. Dick McAuliffe is the new second baseman for the American League as manager Hank Bauer makes still another change. Hank Aaron to face Gary Peters and rounds the first one off the chest of Brooks Robinson, but Brooks is up with it and throws him out.
And Aaron hit the ball very well, but Robinson got in front of the ball hurriedly, knocked it down, and was able to throw out the fleet-footed Henry Aaron.
As Orlando Cepeda comes up, let us complete the pitching record of Ferguson Jenkins. The 1 run on Brooks Robinson home run, 3 hits, 6 strikeouts, and 6 strikeouts ties him with some pretty exclusive company. After Orlando takes his first pitch, we'll see what happens. It's outside, ball 1 from Peters. In 1934, Carl Hubble struck out 34, or rather 6. In 1943, Johnny Vandermeer struck out 6, and in 1950, Larry Jansen struck out 6. Foul off to the right by Cepeda, so add 1 more. Ferguson Jenkins, the 4th man in All-Star history to strike out 6 in his tenure on the mound. 1-1 the score, 1 down in the 7th. Cepeda is grounded into a double play and grounded to first base to Baffert. Gary Peters in his second inning throws a fastball. It catches the inside corner, and it's 1-2 to Cepeda. As we remarked as we came on the air, was 1 for 21 in All-Star play before today. He's now 1 for 23. And, of course, a much better hitter than that. Richie Allen's home run, the only run for the National League. Brooks Robinson's home run, the only run for the American League. In the 7th, Peters working, fouled back by Cepeda. 1-2.
Talking about some of these power hitters from both leagues, Jim, one thing I noticed in batting practice, these hitters like Cepeda and the Phillies' Richie Allen are using very heavy bats, 38 to 40 ounces, whereas in the American League, a Mickey Mantle or a Harmon Killebrew is using a 32-ounce bat, so there's quite a bit of difference in weight as far as the bats these players are using.
Peters ready for the 1-2 pitch. Curveball
was out in front of it and lined it hard, foul, into the left field seats. Count remains at 1-2 as the American League loses at the last 4 in a row, try to catch the National League. The National League has the overall edge in All-Star games, 19-17. Peters is ready. Fastball catches the inside corner again, and Gary has his third strikeout. 2 down in the 7th.
And Cepeda was caught looking, and you'll see that happen with many right-handed hitters and good ones against Gary Peters. His fastball may start 3 or 4 inches inside and breaks very sharply over home plate. So you'll see a lot of called third strikes with Peters on the mound.
Here's Richie Allen, who led off the second inning, hitting a ball that was rather low in way and hitting it to the opposite field for the home run into the right center field stand. He struck out swinging in the 4th. Curveball, and he swings and misses strike 1. Tony Kubek had just said that Richie Allen has probably more power than any other man when it comes to brute power, and the next pitch hit one to the opposite field. Strike again right down the middle from Gary Peters, who has already struck out 3 in 1 2/3 innings.
Talking to Tommy Helms and Pete Rose of the Cincinnati Ball Club, who are at the All-Star game, and they were saying that he either hits the ball very hard or strikes out. He doesn't hit a ball badly.
Inside with the fastball, it is 2-2. Fastball inside again. There have been no walks at all in this ball game. The American League has struck out 6. Jenkins did that all by himself for the National League, and Marichal had 3. Check the count. It is now 2-2 to Allen. Fastball low and away. Now it is 3-2.
Brooks Robinson is playing Allen pretty close to the third baseline, and yet Tony Oliva, the center fielder for the American League All-Stars, is playing Allen to shade slightly toward right field. So he can hit with power to any field. That's that type of indication.
3-2 pitches fouled back. 1 run, 3 hits, no errors for the National League. 1 run, 4 hits, no errors for the American. Chance followed by McLaughlin and now Peters. Marichal started for the National League. Jenkins followed him. And Cuellar probably will be the next pitcher for the National League. Mays has made an appearance and struck out. But he's in the game, and Allen strikes out. That's the 4th for Gary Peters. No runs, no hits, no errors. None left. In the middle of the 7th, the score remains the National League 1 and the American League 1.
Hello, Face?
Yes.
Are you really my Face?
Yes. What do you want?
Well, you're going to think this is silly, but I've been told to ask you about this Gillette Techmatic razor.
Oh, it's beautiful.
Beautiful, huh? Looks kind of funny to me.
It shaves beautiful. Shaves beautiful. I like being treated gently. I do have feelings.
I never meant to hurt your feelings.
That Techmatic thing feels very light. It puts less pressure on it. Pressure. How I hate pressure.
Yes, I've noticed that.
Now, Nick, do you know what one Nick can do to my pride? With a Techmatic, you're just not going to nick me so much. That is a fact.
Hey, you really do like this Gillette Techmatic, don't you? Oh, why didn't you speak up before?
Faces should seen, not heard.
The Gillette Techmatic razor. Ask your face about it.
We move now to the bottom of the 7th inning of this 1-1 38th annual All-Star game. And it is not Cuellar, but rather Bob Gibson of the St. Louis Cardinals, whom Walter Alston has tapped to pitch this the 7th inning. Gibson is 10-6 on the year with 118 strikeouts, only 29 walks, with a 3.53 earned run average. And just Saturday, pitched at Philadelphia 9 2/3 innings. So he is working with 2 days' work. Gibson, a big right-hander, and Tony, it's almost an understatement to say with a blazing fastball.
That's about right. They talk about throwing aspirin tablets, and they call them flamethrowers. Well, Gibson is just that. He's a hard thrower, doesn't try to finesse these hitters, tries to overpower them.
Here is Harmon Killebrew. He is grounded out to third and has been called out on strikes. Killebrew to be followed by Canigliaro and Yastrzemski, barring, of course, pinch hitters in this All-Star game. Long drive, center field. Willie Mays, though, has it in range with that familiar top of the glove to let everybody know he's got it and takes it for the first out. That'll bring up Tony Canigliaro, who has slid to right and has struck out. Tom Haller's behind the plate. Cepeda remains at first. Mazeroski at second. Alley at short. And Allen at third. Hank Aaron, who started in center, has moved to left, replacing Lou Brock. Woody Mays is in center, and Roberto Clemente in right. Bob Gibson, the third pitcher, to follow Marichal and Jenkins. Gibson ready to face Canigliaro. Right-handed batter, and he jams him and he fouls it upstairs. Strike one.
We talked before the ball game about the pregame strategy of these two managers, Jim, and Bauer's pregame strategy was not to use too many players, and he's already changed two. Besides pitchers, his shortstop and second baseman.
Inside fast pitch from Gibson, backing Canigliaro out of the box in a hurry.
Manager Walter Alston of the National League has just changed his catcher, Haller, who replaced Torrey, who was injured. So they're both going against their strategy.
Here's the 1-1 pitch, and Canigliaro fouls this one back to the screen. It is 1-2. Well, last year, Tony, at St. Louis, where it was 105 degrees officially, we went to extra innings before Woody Will singled in Tim McCarver to make it 2-1. There's a foul at the plate by Canigliaro. Count remains 1-2, and here we are again in much more pleasant weather in another beautiful stadium, Anaheim. St. Louis is also beautiful, and another close all-star game. It's 1-1. Gibson ready and throwing and strikes out. Canigliaro swinging. Gibson's first strikeout. 2 down in the 7th.
And now for the American League in the bullpen, a former Yankee teammate and left-hander Al Downey has begun the throw.
Left fielder, Carl Yastrzemski.
As Carl Yastrzemski, who has struck out and doubled, comes to bat. With 1 down in the 5th inning, Yastrzemski doubled. Aaron tried for a catch. The ball bounced away from him, but was left there. Swings at the first pitch, strike one. Freehand popped out, and Mickey Mantle came in to bat for pitcher Jim McLaughlin and was called on a 3rd strike. Then Butch Robinson made everything right in the 6th inning with a home run. Low to Yastrzemski, and it is 1-1.
It's nice to watch and easy to watch from up here, Jim, when you see some of these great players like Mickey Mantle batting, but Willie Mays defensively. And you see, even when the ball isn't hitting his direction, he seems to be breaking. They talk about the instinct of a ball player. Well, Mays has it, of course, everybody knows, but he breaks in many directions.
Low from Gibson, and then right back with a fastball, and Yastrzemski goes around on it for a strike. The count now is 2-2. The shadows have begun to lengthen here at Anaheim from left field, stretching across right field. The temperatures drop 4 degrees from 92 at game time to 88. All in all, a pleasant afternoon. 2-2 pitch with 2 out. This is low and very close. 3-2. There's not going to walk in the ball game. It is National League 1, American League 1, 2 out in the bottom of the 7th. Gibson working very quickly, comes right back with a fastball. Into right center field. Mays coming on fast and allows it to bounce in front of him. And Yastrzemski has his 2nd hit. The 5th hit for the American League.
Yaz didn't hit that ball particularly well. He hit it on the 5th, and I think broke his bat. Little Texas leaguer just in front of Willie Mays.
Yastrzemski now 2 for 3. And here's Bill Freehand. It was called out on strikes in the 3rd and popped to the shortstop in the 5th. Freehand, as we said many times, has a lot of power and already 12 home runs and 40 RBIs. Yastrzemski, in his first start in All-Star play, has gone 2 for 3. Gibson ready, throwing to the right-handed Freehand, fastball inside corner, strike one. On deck is Gary Peters, who I doubt would be batted for, Tony, because he's a fine hitter. Fastball is inside, Freehand goes to his knees to avoid it. Since there have been so many strikeouts, including 10 for the National League, we'll tell you that the strikeout record for 2 teams in a 9-inning All-Star game is 18. There have been 7 fouled back by Freehand by the American League thus far, so we've got 17 and have a whale of a chance that Tyne is setting a new record for strikeouts. 1-2 to Freehand with Yastrzemski at first. Bob Gibson, the 3rd National League pitcher. There goes the runner, and it is strike 3 as Freehand swings at a low pitch and strikes out. And that ties the record for strikeouts in an All-Star game for 2 teams. That's the 18th, and that is the 11th for the National League and the 2nd for Bob Gibson. No runs, 1 hit, no errors, 1 left. At the end of 7, National League 1, American League 1.
I've done it again. Done what again? Come out without cigarettes. Well, here, try one of mine. Oh, that's okay. Here, try one of mine. Have a Salem.
Salem. anything but the best. Salem is the menthol cigarette, the one brand that outsells all the rest.
Try one of mine.
Here's to Salem, for the taste that springtime fresh.
And now from Anaheim, we pause 30 seconds for station identification.
Businessmen, do you think temporary office help is expensive? If you do, you don't know about Alston Temporary Services. To use them, you pay only one low rate that covers everything: payroll, taxes, insurance, bonding, testing. Alston Temporary Services do not cost you money. They save you money. Look into it. Look up Alston. That's Olsten in the white pages of your phone book. All regularly scheduled programs canceled to bring you the All-Star Game on WNBC, AM and FM, New York.
The 38th All-Star Game now moves into the 8th inning. From Anaheim, this is Jim Simpson, and I'm sure that Buddy Blattner and Tony Kubek, both of whom have played a lot of Major League Baseball and seen a lot of it, will agree with me that this is one of the finely pitched ball games in All-Star history. Tom Haller will get his first swings, having replaced Joe Torre in the bottom of the 5th inning after Torre grounded out in 2 attempts. Bill Mazeroski and Gene Alley are the scheduled pitchers, or rather batters, after Haller. Gary Peters has struck out 4 and allowed no hits in his 2 innings on the mound. 1-1 the score. Home run by Richie Allen of the Phillies for the National League and by Bush Robinson of Baltimore for the American League. And that's it. That's the scoring. The left-handed hitting Haller steps in. Tom was 30 years old last month. Now lives in California. Fine quarterback for Illinois. 10th year, 6 years, the starting Giants catcher. He's on the All-Star squad last year, but did not play and rips one foul behind first base into the stands. Strike 1. So this is Haller's first real attempt at All-Star play. Low, it is 1-1 now to Haller.
And this year, Jim, it was exceptionally tough in the balloting for the All-Star positions of catch and outfield positions for the National League. There have been so many great ones. Some good ones have been left off this team.
Little pop fly that Fregosi at shortstop backs up and now backs up some more and takes it for the first out of the 8th inning. That will bring up Bill Mazeroski. Maz has grounded to short on 2 occasions. 1-1 the score. Remember, NBC is bringing you this All-Star Game today here in the United States and, of course, around the world on Armed Forces Radio. And we'd like to remind you of NBC Television's coverage of Major League Baseball in a moment. Outside of Mazeroski, NBC, of course, is on every weekend on Saturdays with Major League Baseball. The primary game this week, the Chicago Cubs have surprised everybody by tying for the lead. Now have lost 7 straight at Los Angeles, the defending champions. Inside with the curveball to Mazeroski, it's 2-0. And for those in Chicago and in Los Angeles, Tony and I will be in San Francisco for the game between Houston and the San Francisco Giants. Speaking of Houston, Cuellar, their pitcher, is up and warming again in the National League bullpen. 2-0 pitch from Gary Peters to Mazeroski way outside. It is 3-0, and we have not had a walk in this game yet.
Jim, talking a little about Mazeroski, he's led the National League 7 consecutive rows for years in a row in double plays, so he's got a record for himself in that.
Strike as Maz was taking all the way from Gary Peters.
Maz never been known for hitting much for an average. This year he is, of course, batting at .293, but he's always been a very consistent clutch hitter.
Now back, and Peters, who has won 10 and lost 4 this year, down 3-0, has now quickly run it up to 3-2. Well, we've had 18 strikeouts and no walks, and I'm sure that we'll dig out a record sooner or later if this no walks keeps up to see if that's ever been done before. The pitchers have been getting the ball around the plate, fouled again, off to the right and upstairs out of play. 3-2. 1 down in the 8th, National League 1, American League 1.
Each team has a left-hander in their bullpen right now. Al Downing, the left-hander, continues to warm up as Cuellar does for the National League.
Peters working his last inning. Comes back with a 3-2, and there's a shot into left field, but right there's Yastrzemski and takes it on the line for the second out. And that will bring up Gene Alley, the shortstop of the Pittsburgh Pirates, who's flied to right and has been called out on strikes. Alley, the top vote getter in either league. his first All-Star game in quite a thrill. Peters ready. Big curveball drops over, strike one. Peters Friday night against the Minnesota Twins for the Chicago White Sox was not only effective but throwing harder than we have seen him throw in some time. There's a fastball lined right back to Peters, who has it go off his glove, underhands it to Carew at first for the third out. No runs, no hits, no errors, and none left. And Gary Peters has worked 3 innings and not a man has reached base. In the middle of the 8th, the National League won and the American League won.
If you do a lot of driving, you got to have a better tire in the car. I know that Mel Ostro of Chicago does a lot of driving, around 40,000 miles a year. We asked him how he goes about buying tires.
I buy a tire by price, really. I don't know anything about tires. I figure if I spend the money on the tire, spend a lot of money on the tire, I get a better tire.
We told Mr. Ostro there's a different way to buy tires at B.F. Goodrich with a gadget called the tire calculator. You tell it about your driving, how much you do, how fast you go, and so on. Then it tells you which B.F. Goodrich tire suits you best. It'll be the one that costs you least in the long run, too. We asked Mr. Ostro how he'd feel about a dealer that used the tire calculator.
You'd have to be honest. Couldn't be anything else.
You'll like the way they do business at B.F. Goodrich, the straight talk tire people.
When you're ready for some straight talk about tires, just drop into any B.F. Goodrich store or dealer. Look in the yellow pages for the name of the one nearest you. Well, Gary Peters is all through with his 3 innings of pitching, as described by All-Star rules. And Don Mincher, the California Angels first baseman, has come in to hit for him and drops the first one into short left field, right in front of Hank Bauer, and turns with a single, hitting the first pitch from Bob Gibson.
And now, Jim, we're going to get a pinch runner for Don Mincher. Tommy Agee of the White Sox is coming in to run. And Buddy Blattner, our partner up here in the booth, has informed me that Mincher's had quite a hot bat in the last 5 games. He's driven in 10 runs, so he's kept that bat hot by getting on base for the American League.
And remember that last year's Rookie of the Year, Tommy Agee, struck 44 bases last year, and he has stolen 22 already this year. And so he can run. The speed of the Go-Go White Sox, now on first baseman Tommy Agee, and Jim Pregame, who is singled and struck out, is up. Is he up to bunt? He tries a bunt, which rolls foul, picked up quickly by Haller, as Agee slides into second base, but he'll have to come back. It's a 1-1 ball game, and Hank Bauer and the American League looking for the 1 run, Tony, as it's the bottom of the 8th inning. If they can score here, all they have to do is worry about the top of the 9th. Al Downing continues to warm for the American League. Cuellar, and now another man, another left-hander, is up down in the National League bullpen as quickly Tom Haller runs out to Bob Gibson. We'll report again that Gibson, although he can get out of this trouble, and of course he may not, did work 9 2/3 innings Saturday at Philadelphia, so he's working with just 2 days of rest after an extended period on the mound. We'll go see the batter. He attempted to bunt the first time. He squares around the bunt, lets this one go inside with a fastball from Gibson. It is 1-1. Agee is standing on first base. Cepeda had broken in from first, and Allen from third. National League won, American League won on home runs by Richie Allen and Brooks Robinson. Last of the 8th inning. Nobody is out. Agee as Pregame bunts. It's a beauty. Picked up by Gibson, who goes to first. Mazeroski covering, and the sacrifice is complete. Agee is at second base with Brooks Robinson, the home run hitter, due up.
And a pretty good bunt by Jim Pregame. Bob Gibson, one of the finest fielding pitchers in the major leagues, got off the mound very hurriedly, but a perfect bunt by Jim Pregame.
Ferguson Jenkins was the pitcher on the mound when that hanging high curveball came to Robinson, and he dropped it over the left field fence. Bob Gibson is the pitcher now, with Agee at second base. Running for Don Mincher, who hit Gibson's first pitch for a single, has been sacrificed along by another Angel, Jim Pregame, and Anaheim is loving it. Fastball by Gibson hit the inside corner, strike 1.
We've now got 3 left-handers warming up, Jim. Al Downing continues to throw for the American League. Mike Cuellar for the National, along with Chris Short.
Fouled away by Brooks Robinson. It's 2 strikes. Well, a year ago, Tony, it was McCarver of St. Louis in St. Louis that led off the 10th inning with a single and came around to score the winning run, 2-1. Here at Anaheim, a couple of California Angels have put the American League in pretty fair position. High pop-up. Mazeroski goes out, but coming in fast is Clemente in short right center, waits for it and takes it with a basket catch. They're 2 down, with Dick McAuliffe due up for the first time. McAuliffe took over in the National League 7th inning after Rod Carew, the starter, had flied deep to left, flied inside the center and struck out swinging. Dick is up for the first time in this game. And, of course, I'm sure that most know that McAuliffe, for the last 2 years, was the starting shortstop on the All-Star squad, but manager Mayo Smith knew at Detroit, switched Dick to second base this year. Ray Orner started at short, and last we looked, McAuliffe was back at shortstop. McAuliffe with that high stance of his, holding his arms as he does, takes a fastball outside. Ball one. And Tony, I'm trying to think of words to describe the way that McAuliffe holds that bat. He's peeping down his right elbow. Gibson throws again. He swings and misses, strike one.
Jim, it looks as though if the pitcher were to throw one right at McAuliffe, he'd hit him right square in the chest. But as the pitcher starts into his delivery, he cocks that bat back into a normal hitting position.
Agee on second with 2 down in the bottom of the 8th inning. McAuliffe the batter in a 1-1 ball game. American League has 6 hits, National League 3. Gibson throws. Hits to right field. Clemente drifts over to the right, taps his glove, and takes the basket catch for the 3rd out. No runs. A man left at second on 1 hit. No errors. And the score. At the end of 8th, the National League won and the American League won.
This is Edie Gourmet. Someone asked me a very silly question the other day. He said, Edie, you know a lot about Plymouth. Could you explain Barracuda's torsion bar suspension? Why, sure, I said. Torsion bars bar. That is, prevent. You know, all those little torsions from, well, they help take the lumps out of the road.
Let's sum it up this way, Edie. With torsion bar suspension, a Barracuda doesn't corner, it carves. And that's what makes Barracuda a sports car, especially with optional power up to a 383 cubic inch V8. Drive a wild new Barracuda soon.
Plymouth is out to win you over this year. Follow your heart to your Plymouth dealer today.
Your Plymouth dealer's out to win you over with a wild new Barracuda. Fastback, hard topper convertible. It's one of America's great sports cars. See Barracuda soon. Now coming into pitch, and remember, the only American League pitcher with previous All-Star experience was Dean Chance. Another man new to All-Star action is Al Downing, a little left-hander from the New York Yankees, who this year has a 9-5 record, a 2.67 earned run average, has only given up 3 home runs. And Tony, Friday, Downing pitched a shutout over Baltimore. And you played with Al, I know. What kind of pitcher is he?
Al Downing has had difficulty in the past controlling his pitches. He's had good stuff all of his career, been very erratic with his fastball, curveball, and hard slider. Now we see, Jim, that coming out of the dugout to pinch hit is Jim Wynn of the Houston Astros. So he'll be hitting for the pitcher. This season, Downing has not had much control trouble, and of course this is pretty much an evidence with a great record that he has at this time.
Tony, his record for strikeouts, 106, for walks, 38. Jim Wynn, who is coming out to bat for Bob Gibson. 25 years old, born and lives in Cincinnati, was hurt last year. In Philadelphia, he crashed into the wall August 1st and was lost to the Astros for the rest of the year. He did not play anymore, but he leads the major leagues in RBIs this year with 65, and he has 21 home runs, and is quite a hitter. Bob Gibson worked 2 innings, allowed no runs, only 2 hits, and struck out 2. And again, we have the statistic that nobody has walked anybody.
Now in the American League's bullpen, Jim Lonberg of the Boston Red Sox has begun to throw, and Al Downing has nothing but right-handed hitters to face.
We are in the 9th inning of this 1-1 ball game, and now we come down now to where anything can happen, and happen with dramatic suddenness, as the home runs of Richie Allen and Brooks Robinson have done. There has been no real rally, no real threat. Tony Agee got as far as second base with just 1 out in the 8th inning for the American League, but did not score. Yastrzemski also doubled and did not score. Al Downing ready to face the right-hander Jim Wynn to lead off the 9th inning, 1-1, and there is a curveball that drops low. Ball 1. 1 run, 6 hits, no errors for the American League. 1 run, 3 hits, no errors for the National League. 7 strikeouts for the American, 11 for the National, including a record-tying 6 for Ferguson Jenkins. Line drive to right field, and Canigliaro plays it on the hop, and Jim Wynn has a base hit off Al Downing. And now coming up is Woody Mays, who was called out on strikes in the 6th inning. But Anaheim, California is an American League city. And of course, there are a lot of National Leaguers down here from nearby Los Angeles and Dodger Route. is due up. Wynn is also quick at first base. Robinson is playing in back of the bag at third. May squares around the bunt, takes low, ball one.
A tough decision, Jim, for manager Walter Alston. He wants to win this ball game, and he knows these people want to see Willie Mays hit one out, and yet he's having him bunt. So you can see that he's trying to win this ball game very hard.
National League has won the last 4 in a row. Downing looks at first and comes home with the fastball. It misses outside. It is 2-0 to Willie Mays. But listen to this. Roberto Clemente, Hank Aaron, and Orlando Cepeda and Richie Allen on deck. Clemente is a right-handed hitter. Aaron is a right-handed hitter. Cepeda. And Downing is a left-handed pitcher. And Willie Mays is right-handed. 2-0, none out. Win at first, 9th inning. Downing comes back with a changeup that drops over, and it's 2-1.
And Willie started to bunt at the pitch, Jim, but Downing had great motion on the changeup, and this is something very unusual in a bunt situation with Willie attempting to bunt the first strike. A changeup is not really an ideal pitch to throw, and I believe it's pulled Willie.
Lonborg continues to warm up in the American League bullpen, the fine young pitcher from the Boston Red Sox. Downing is ready and throws a fastball. This one is low. Al thought he had it. It is 3-1. Both Robinson and Killebrew were breaking in from third and first. There have been no walks, remember, by any pitcher on either team. And it is now 3-1 to Willie Mays. And let's see whether or not Walter Alston has Mays on the 3-1 after having him attempt to bunt. Swing away. Swinging away. High drive, center field. Back goes Tony Olivo. Over to his right. Drifting back forward. Tagging at first and heading for second is Wynn. And Wynn goes in after the catch.
And Tony Oliva, the center fielder, has a very good arm and hurried his throw back in, and a pretty good throw at that. But Jim Wynn, with his amazing speed, tagged up and made a very good base-running maneuver to get into second base.
And that brings up right-handed Roberto Clemente, who beat out an infield hit in the first inning, struck out swinging in the third, and was called out in the sixth. But now the National League has a go-ahead run on second base with one down. Exactly the same situation the American League had against Bob Gibson in the bottom of the 8th inning. They did not score.
Right fielder, Roberto Clemente.
Clemente steps in. The shadows here at Anaheim have now reached almost completely across center field, toward right. Only Canigliaro in right is bathed in sunshine. The temperatures dropped from a game time 92 to 87. It has been great baseball weather for the spectators, a little warm perhaps for the players, but what a 38th All-Star game. 1-1, National League, American League, 9th inning. Downing throws to Clemente, who rifles it upstairs, foul to the right.
And you talk about somebody having his work cut out for him. It's Al Downing, a left-hander, to face these full right-handers for the National League.
The National League has won its last 4 in a row, holds a 19 and 17 edge over the American League. There has been one tie. The National League has won 16 of the last 21, and right now are threatening in this tie ball game here in the 9th. Downing working to the most valuable player of last year. Fails to hit the cover. Outside, 1-1.
Jim Lonborg,
I'm sorry, Tony.
Jim Lonborg continues to throw, so should Clemente get on by walk or hit, manager Hank Bauer may be forced into making a change for the right-hander.
Downing on the 1-1 pitch. Fouled again upstairs off the fifth. It's 1-2 to Clemente. Downing last Friday worked with Baltimore and shut them out, as we said. Baltimore not having the use of Frank Robinson, nor do the All-Stars today. Frank took himself out of the game Friday night, and Ken Berry, the White Sox, replaced him. Al Kaline, of course, injured his hand several weeks ago and has been lost to the Tigers and also to the All-Stars. But that is forgotten now by the fans here as they're watching a 1-1 ball game. 9th inning. 1-2 to Clemente, Downing ready. Those breaking pitch and strikes him out.
Pretty good change-up curveball, Jim, that Clemente was fooled on somewhat, was a little bit out in front of it. Had a good cut, but a little bit out in front of it.
And the record writers will enter another little notation into next year's books. The All-Star 9-inning performance, if this goes 9 innings, and no more. There have been 19 strikes, eclipsing the previous record of 18 in the ball game in 1959 and again in 1964. Hank Aaron. Curveball stays high to Aaron. It is ball one. Downing trying to pitch his way out of trouble against the likes of Woody Mays, Roberto Clemente, and now Hank Aaron.
We talked about the unorthodox hitting of Roberto Clemente. Well, Henry Aaron is another unorthodox right-handed hitter and a great hitter. Gets off that front.
With 1 for 3 and a stolen base at bat. 57 RBIs on the year. 22 home runs. Curveball stays high to Aaron. It is ball one. Downing trying to pitch his way out of trouble against the likes of Woody Mays, Roberto Clemente, and now Hank Aaron.
We talked about the unorthodox hitting of Roberto Clemente. Well, Henry Aaron is another unorthodox right-handed hitter and a great hitter. Gets off that front foot, which is not advised by many hitting instructors, but he keeps that bat back at all times.
Downing is ready. Curveball to Brooks Robinson on one hop. The shot to first to Killebrew, and Downing is out of trouble. No runs, 1 hit, no errors, and 1 left. In the middle of the ninth, the score remains the National League 1 and the American League 1. Gillette had hopes to develop the most popular hair groom a man could use. But the hair groom that men use the most turned out to be water. And water had already been invented. So Gillette developed Heads Up, a hair groom that mixes with water. Gillette Heads Up. You get the clean look and feel of water with the staying power of a hair groom. And you can get Heads Up in a bottle or two. Leave it to Gillette to have something for everybody. Jim Simpson with Tony Kubek and Buddy Blattner as we move now to the bottom of the ninth inning. Tony Oliva, Armin Killebrew, and Tony Conigliaro, the batters. And we have a new pitcher from the Philadelphia Phillies, Chris Short, has come in to pitch. Short worked on Saturday against the Cardinals, 8 innings, 5 and 2 on the year, and has been injured. 72 strikeouts, 40 walks, and because of an injury to Short has been put on to replace him. Out and Chris Short in. Well, as Al Downing had to work to some power, so does Chris Short, although Oliva is a left-handed batter. But Killebrew follows, and then Conigliaro. And in the bottom of the ninth inning, Tony Kubek, you know, I know, those listening around the world know that it only takes one swing of the bat to end this game for the American League.
And Tony Oliva, as we mentioned earlier, has been a hot hitter for the Minnesota Twins in the past several weeks. He had a rather slow start, but when Oliva's hitting, he doesn't care if it's left-handed, right-handed, or both-handed. He can hit them. He's got a good eye when he's hitting the ball well, can hit with power at any field.
8 home runs this year, hitting at .424 over the last 8 games in regular play. Short delivers a little ground ball to Alley at shortstop. Quick throw to first, and has Oliva for the first out on the bottom of the ninth. And now Harmon Killebrew, who is grounded to third, called out on strikes and fly to center. 1-1 the score in the second inning. Richie Allen of the Phillies homered in the sixth inning. Brooks Robinson of the Orioles homered, and that has been it. 46,000 here at Anaheim Stadium this afternoon as the All-Star Classic has moved to Southern California. And no matter who wins and who loses this game, the argument will continue to rage. Which is the stronger league, the National League or the American League? Short throws, and Killebrew did not mean to hit it. Pops it up on a check swing to Nazarowski at second base, who takes it for the second out. And should Conigliaro go down before Short, and we go into extra innings, be advised there have been 4 extra inning games in All-Star history. All have been won by the National League. But then remember, the National League has won 4 in a row, and nobody has ever won 5 in a row. Conigliaro, the batter, takes high on a slow curve from Chris Short, ball 1. Tony flied to right in the second, struck out swinging in the fifth, and again in the seventh. Swings at a curveball. It is 1-1.
Richie Allen, the third baseman for the National League, is now playing just one step away from that third base line. Orlando Cepeda is playing closer to the line. They want to cut down the possibility of an extra base hit down that line.
1-1 pitch. Right field. Clemente is over. Mays is over. It's Clemente who is calling for it, putting down the glasses and taking it for the third out. And so we go to extra innings.
No runs, no hits, no errors, none left. At the end of 9, the National League won. The American League won. Well, we go to extra innings. The top of the 10th inning will find Orlando Cepeda, Richie Allen, and Tom Haller against the left-hander, Al Downey. And, of course, both Cepeda and Allen bat right-handed. And both, of course, have great power. Cepeda today has grounded to first, unassisted, hit into a double play, and has been called out on strike. And so in Orlando's all-star career, he is 1 for 24. That's a bloop single, and everybody knows someday the big bull Orlando Cepeda, whose father was the greatest player in Puerto Rican baseball history, has got to break out of it. 29 years old, lines this one to right center field over his Conigliaro. Backhanded catch as he hits the warning track.
Great catch by Tony Conigliaro. He ran a very long way. The ball was hit to right center field and very hard on the line by Cepeda. And he called in full stride in front of the 375 sign, right in front of the warning track.
And that will bring up Richie Allen. Allen, the first time at bat, hit a ball to deep right center field. It went into the seats for the National League's only run. 1-1 in the 10th. Downing is ready and throws a fastball. It is low. Ball 1 to Allen. And now on deck, it looks as though Ernie Banks will do the batting for Tom Haller. Downing is ready again, throws a fastball that Allen fouls off. It is 1-1. Banks having one of his greatest years, and he had a number of great ones. Last year, Ernie hit only 15 home runs. This year, he has already hit 15, and at age 36, he's the oldest player in this All-Star game. Downing throws another fastball on the outside corner. Strike 2 to Allen, who since that home run has struck out twice, both times swinging. Tony Kubek remarked that National League players say Richie either hits the ball for a hit or strikes out. Fastball inside and low, backing it out. It's 2-2.
Jim, we were about to say that this is one of the first times that neither ball club has anybody warming up in the bullpen, but now Jim Catfish Hunter of the Kansas City Athletics has gotten up, and he's warming up for the American League.
Breaking pitch that stays inside. It is 3-2. And again, we'll point out there have been no walks. Speaking of Catfish Hunter, I love the way he got his name. I wondered about it. He ran away from home one time, went out fishing, caught a couple of catfish, and came meekly back, and his parents called him Catfish ever afterwards. Downing throws a fastball and strikes him out. Second strikeout for Downing. That's 9 for the American League as Ernie Banks comes up to replace Haller. That's the 20th strikeout in this All-Star game as opposed to no walks. And now Ernie Banks. 15 years with the Cubs, never played in the minors. Only Al Kaline and Billy O'Dell among the active players can say that. In the Major Leagues, he's got the record for the most home runs by a shortstop, 47 in 1958. He's had 6 seasons where he never missed a game. He, like Roger Maris and Mickey Mantle, the only active player to be most valuable player 2 years in a row, in 1958 and 59. This is his 12th All-Star game. He's 9 for 31, 290 with a home run, a triple, and a double. Downing works and Banks fouls it off. Strike 1. 2 down, 10th inning, 1-1 to score.
We were talking about the heavy bats that some of these National League players use now. Cepeda, Richie Allen. Ernie Banks was a player that used one of the lightest bats of any of the major leaguers, but this year he's changed to a heavy bat, and he's been very successful with it.
Line drive right center field. This looks as though it'll drop in. It does in front of Conigliaro, and Banks, the veteran, the oldest man on either squad, comes through with a base hit with 2 down in the 10th. And that brings up Bill Mazeroski, who is hitless on the day.
Banks' hit was not hit real solidly. It was a semi-line drive that he hit off the end of the bat. Did not hit very hard, but he threw it out there in the right spot.
That's the 5th hit for the National League. 2 off Dean Chance, including a home run, 1 off McLaughlin, none off Peters, who retired 9 in a row, and now 2 off Al Downey. Mazeroski is grounded out twice and line to left. Swing and a miss on a curveball. It's strike 1. This game
extra innings is only about 2 hours and 15 minutes old. Moving right along, Downing ready. Fastball, which is fouled back to the screen. It is 2 strikes to Mazeroski. Downing gets through this, Tony. If nothing else, he's going to get a pat on the back from other left-handers who have had to face, and maybe there haven't been too many, the likes of Mays, Clemente, Aaron, Cepeda, and Allen all in a row, and then Ernie Banks. Fastball is fouled upstairs to the right. Still 2 strikes to Mazeroski.
Manager Walt Alston is looking a little ahead right now. Should Mazeroski and Gene Alley get on base, that'll bring up Chris Short, the pitcher, and he's got Tom Seaver, a right-hander from the Mets, warming up in the bullpen at this time.
2 down with Banks at first. Pitch remains very high. Freehand had to step up to get it. It's 1-2. Alley is the on-deck batter. Home runs, and we'll repeat it again. Richie Allen and Brooks Robinson. That has been the only scoring in this, the 38th All-Star game. And finish. There's the ball hit to left field. Yastrzemski is over now and has it for the 3rd out. No runs, 1 hit, no errors, and 1 left. At the end of 9.5, the National League won. The American League won.
Bottom of the 9th inning, Tim McCarver is the new catcher from the Cardinals, and Tony Perez of Cincinnati has replaced Richie Allen at 3rd. Chris Short, the pitcher, breaking ball outside to Carl Yastrzemski. Ball 1. Freehand, the pitcher on deck, or rather the batter on deck in this 1-1 ball game. Yastrzemski with 19 home runs this year takes inside. Another breaking pitch from Short, and it is 2-0. On those changes for the National League, McCarver will bat in the number 6 spot, and Perez will bat in the number 5 position. Yastrzemski steps back in. Facing the left-hander, Chris Short of the Philadelphia Phillies. Fastball this time, which is low, and it is 3-0. We have had 20 strikeouts and no walks. On 2 occasions, the count has been 3-0, and on each occasion, Gary Peters once, Al Downing once, they got out of the situation. This one is low, and there's the first walk of the ball game. And now we could see Bill Freehand attempting to advance Yastrzemski as Max Elvis comes out of the dugout. He'll probably bat for Al Downing. Bill Freehand with 12 home runs on the year, and Tony Kubek has put forth the possibility that they're simply going to try to move Yastrzemski, who has just had a long conversation with first base coach Eddie Stanky, down to second base. Perez is sneaking in at third base, and breaking in from first to Cepeda. There's the bunt. Perfect bunt. Picked up by Short. He'll have to go to first. Sacrifice works. Down on second base is Yastrzemski with 1 down. Max Elvis to Freeman will be the batter, batting for Al Downing. And Jim, we've seen perfect execution by these All-Stars in almost every play. The sacrifice bunts have been laid down perfectly. The fielders of the bunts have done just what they're supposed to in a well-played ball game. Al Downing worked 2 innings. He got 2 hits, struck out 2, and walked nobody. Here is Max Elvis of the Cleveland Indians, born and lives in Jasper, Texas, and a hard-working man of field and at bat. One hopper to Alley, who goes to third. They've got Canigliaro trapped. Elvis is safe at first. Canigliaro is 1 down, and Mazeroski puts the tag on him at second base. Perez ran him all the way back as Alley went to third. So the lead runner is down and the 2 down, and Elvis is on first on the field is short. Max Elvis hit the ball very high, 1 hop, and Alley went a step or 2 to his right, fielded it very cleanly, and bounced the ball to Perez. Made a hurried throw, but Perez scooped the ball out, made a nice play, and ran down to Yastrzemski. Elvis at first base, and Pregame was sacrificed, struck out swinging and singled as a replacement for Rico Petroselli, who started the game although injured. Pregame, a California Angel, is up as we're in the 10th inning with 2 down and a 1-1 ball game. Chris Short, a left-hander, facing the right-hander for Grossi, and throws a big breaking curve that is outside, ball 1. And now the shadows extend way out to the right field wall. The sun has dropped behind the left field stand. In fact,
has pretty good control.
Short taking his down on the mound. 1-1 the count to Pregame. Jim does not step out, but just stays there waiting for Chris Short to get ready. Alvis with a short lead off first base. Short delivers a fastball, and Pregame, who went down swinging on 3 low and away pitches, last time up went for it and fouled it off. 1-2. His manager, currently the third base coach for the American League All-Stars, Bill Rigney, gives him the sign from third base. Rigney at third, Sankey of the White Sox at first. And now, McCarver, new to the game, and Short go out for a few words, Tony.
We're going to mention that Max Alvis, who is on first, has never stolen many bases in his career, but he can run pretty well. And it wouldn't surprise us at all to see him get the go-ahead sign to try and get in scoring position.
1-2 the count. 2 down. 1-1 the score. Bottom of the 10th. Pregame strikes out. No run, no hits, no errors, and 1 left. And now it's him to 10. The National League 1. The American League 1.
Hi, this is Edie Burnett. Now, I'm not very handy with a slide rule, but Plymouth engineers have got to do something else. After they gave the new Plymouth Fury the biggest standard V8 in its class, you'd think they'd have just sat around slapping each other's backs. Well, not these guys.
Right, Edie. Plymouth engineers also fitted Fury with the largest optional V8 and the biggest brakes in its class, plus torsion bar suspension and very plush interiors. Drive a Fury soon. And just to please Plymouth engineers, fiddle on the yardstick. Fury also has the largest trunk in its class.
Plymouth is a pretty one.
Luxurious Fury soon. It's the high-value car in the low-price field. The success car of 67. See Fury today at your Plymouth dealers. Now Jim Catfish Hunter is coming in to pitch. A right-handed pitcher for the Kansas City A's, and in the home uniform of the A's. The first has the white uniform with green sleeves, green cap, white shoes, and gold and green stockings. And Jim Catfish Hunter is 8-7 this year with Kansas City. On a fine earned average of 2.63, he has struck out 105, has walked 50, given up 5 home runs. The last time he worked was right here at Anaheim Friday night. He worked 6 innings. And Gene Alley is the first man that he will face. And due up is the pitcher, Chris Short. But we shall see.
Left-hander Cuellar is up once more for the National League. And I would imagine that we'll see a pinch hitter for the pitcher, or should Alley get on, we may see a sacrifice, depending upon the situation.
Many of that, it is Freehand still behind the plate. He's been there all the way, as has Carew at first base. McCullough is now the second baseman, replacing Rod Carew. Pregame, who will replace Petroselli as a shortstop. Rich Robinson has remained all the way at third base. And the outfield for the American League has also remained intact. Yastrzemski, Oliva, and Canigliaro, reading from left to right. Now Hunter is the fifth pitcher. Chance, McLaughlin, Peterson, Downing, and now Hunter. Alley, up for the 4th time, is flied to right, been called out on strikes, and grounded out to the first baseman with the pitcher cover. Dean from Richmond, Virginia, in his first All-Star game, and this 1-1 ball game that has moved along very quickly. Despite the fact we are now in the 11th inning. Hunter, one of Al Dark's fine young pitchers at Kansas City, depended upon by the Kansas City A's to bring them up out of the second division, throws this one inside, so Alley thought as he ducked away, but umpire Ed Lundy said it's strike 1.
Catfish Hunter has a good breaking ball, a good wide sweeping curve that backed Alley out of there.
Fastball outside this time, and it's 1-1. On deck now is Tommy Helms of Cincinnati, who obviously will bat for the pitcher, Chris Short. Hunter is ready, fastball, high hopper, but foul past Robinson at third base. Retrieved by the ball boy down the left field line. And it's strike 2, 1-2.
Helms is in the on-deck circle, Jim, as you mentioned, but I would imagine that this is only event that Alley would get on, manager Walter Alston is sending a good bunter up to the plate. The possibility is that should Alley not get on, he'll put up a left-handed pinch hitter.
Right. Called again, and Catfish Hunter has gotten Alley on strikes, and that's the 21st strikeout of the game. And now Helms goes back, and masseuse Tony Kubek will figure in on who's coming up.
Well, Walt Alston's doing just what we thought. He's putting up Rusty Staub of the Houston Astros, who's having himself a fine year, as, of course, all these All-Stars are, or they wouldn't be here.
Rusty Staub is in his first All-Star game. He has 7 home runs, 39 RBIs, only 23 years old. 5 years ago, he got $100,000 to sign. And he, speaking of hot bats, Tony Kubek, example reliever of the American League, Staub for the National League with Houston, has hit safely in his last 10 games. So the left-handed batter steps in against the right-handed Hunter with 1 down in the 11th and the score tied at 1-1.
Staub has very good power, and now the American League defense has shifted over way to the right. They're playing him to pull.
Hunter ready, fastball, right back to left center field. Dropping between. Yastrzemski and Oliva, and Staub holds on to first base with a single with 1 down in the 11th. And that will bring up Willie Mays. Willie, in his first appearance as a pinch hitter for Lou Brock in the 6th inning, was called out on strikes. He flied to center in the 9th. Clemente follows it. Hunter is ready and throws a fastball rolling away. Ball 1. 1 run, 6 hits, no errors for the American League, and with Staub single, it is now 1 run, 6 hits, no errors for the National League. Hunter ready again, backs Mays out of there this time. It's 2-0.
Coyar, left-hander for the National League, will probably come into the ball game to replace Chris Short. He's been loosening up several times during the course of this ball game.
Anaheim has waited a long while to get something like this, an all-star game. Ground ball by Mays. Pregame can only go to first and does, and just gets Mays by a step. Down to second goes Rusty Staub.
And Pregame made a fine play. The ball was hit into the dirt in front of home plate, bounced high over Catfish Hunter's head, and Pregame had to make a hurried throw and a quick charge on the ball.
And now Roberto Clemente, who owns 12 home runs and 52 RBIs on the year, but has struck out his last 3 times at bat in this All-Star game. Roberto beat one into the dirt in the 1st inning and beat it out for a hit, so he's 1 for 4. He struck out swinging in the 3rd and 9th innings and was called out on strikes in the 6th. Hunter looks back at Staub at second and throws a changeup curveball. That is strike 1.
And once again, the right-hander backed out of the box on the pitch. Wide-breaking curveball by Catfish Hunter.
Hunter's ready again. This time a fastball, strike 2. Well, this game may be called the year of the strikeout. But of course, heroics by anyone could change that to the year of fill in the name. Staub at second. 2 out in the 11th inning of the 38th annual All-Star game. Clemente at bat. Foul tips it. Just did get a piece of the ball with the end of his bat and stays alive. 2 strikes.
And with Staub in scoring position, on a single to the outfield, he's going to be challenging some pretty strong arms in Yastrzemski, Oliva, and especially Tony Conigliaro, the right fielder for the American League.
Conigliaro, even as you said that, Tony, was swinging his right arm around in right field, anticipating the possibility. There's the ball. It's punched foul upstairs to the right, and it is still 2 strikes. And a fine catch by a spectator. Nobody has gotten as far as third base except the 2 men who have hit home runs, Richie Allen and Butch Robinson. Such has been the pitching. There has been 1 walk and more than 20 strikeouts. Only 6 hits apiece. Hunter's ready with a 2-strike pitch. This time, the ball stays outside, and it's 1-2. Only that looked like a breaking pitch, but thrown harder than before.
Looked more like a hard slider, Jim. A ball, of course, that does not break as much as the sweeping curveball that Hunter throws many times.
1-2 to Clemente with Staub at second. check stub and now steps off. Clemente never moved from the batter's box. Hunter with the sign again. Reaches outside and rips one, and I want to tell you, a man got a line drive, and back of the dugout, I think that would have been Ducky. It stung the hands of Clemente, who hit the ball. 1-2. Clemente's up there really guarding the plate, and that was one of those breaking balls that Hunter throws, a big one. It looked like it was a foot or two outside, and Clemente reached way across the plate to foul line drive off. Aaron is the man on deck. Some National League fans begin to clap it up. Hunter delivers. Fastball, it just misses. It is 2-2. Ed Runge's been working the plate today. Frank Sikori at first, Lou DeMuro at second, Ken Burkhardt at third, Evan Ashford in right, Chris Palladudis in left. 3 from each league. Here's the 2-2 pitch. Fastball and he strikes out. No runs, one hit, no errors, one left. In the middle of the 11th, the National League won. The American League won. How's it going, ladies and gentlemen? This is Rocky Market, a famous fighter. You know, ladies and gentlemen, a lot of you guys want to know what it's like to get in a ring. Well, let me tell you, I don't care how good a pugilist you are. You get in a ring, somebody's going to go bam, bam, hit you right in the face. They're going to give you a face hurt. And you know, when you shave before you go in a ring, you use a blade that pulls on your face, you're going to get a face hurt. Then when you go in a ring, you're going to go bam, bam, hit you right in the face. You're going to get another face hurt. And let me tell you, ladies and gentlemen, 2 face hurts in one day don't do your face any good. So what I do, ladies and gentlemen, I use the Gillette Super Stainless blade, the one they call a spoiler. It's got this miracle plastic coating on the edge that reduces the pull when you shave. You don't get a face hurt. Then when I go in the ring, I go bam, bam, hit me right in the face. I only get that one face hurt, and I usually win a fight. So if I were you, ladies and gentlemen, I would get the Gillette Super Stainless blade, the spoiler. It's going to make your face feel just great. Unless somebody comes along and gives you a punch. But Gillette people can't do anything about that. Tony Kubek, and we move now to the bottom of the 11th inning. Mike Cuellar has come in to pitch, the left-hander of the Houston Astros. Cuellar this year is 9-4 with an earned run average of 2.95, 108 strikeouts, only 36 walks, and is a rather rested pitcher. He worked 1 inning the last time out, and that was on Saturday. And he'll be facing Brooks Robinson, Dick McAuliffe, and Tony Oliva here in the bottom of the 11th of this 1-1 ball game. And so now we've had Marichal, Jenkins, Bob Gibson, Chris Short, and now Mike Cuellar. Chris Short worked 2 innings, walked 1, the only walk of the ball game. Struck out 1. Cuellar throws fairly hard, a left-hander, of course. He has a pretty good slider and curveball, and it appeared, Jim, that he was working on a screwball out in the bullpen. Brooks Robinson with a home run, the only run of the American League, swings and hits this one high, and it'll probably reach the seats. Down the left field line, Brooks just got a little bit too far in front of it, and Tim McCarver races out to Mike Cuellar. He's giving Cuellar a little warning to keep the ball down on Robinson. Robinson likes that ball held high or above it, and McCarver knows it and wants him to keep that ball down around the knees. Strike 1 to Robinson with McAuliffe and Oliva to follow. McAuliffe and Oliva both left-handers. Robinson, at bat, a right-hander. Cuellar, a left-hander. 1-1 now. And, of course, maybe Hank Bauer will reach into his bullpen, or his bench. Curveball from Cuellar, does not make it over the plate, stays outside, he wants a new ball. It is 2-1. 1-1 the score. The bottom of the 11th inning of the 38th annual All-Star Game. Another curveball, fouled upstairs, it is 2-2. A reminder again of NBC's Major League coverage on television Saturday. Most of the country will see the Chicago Cubs at Los Angeles. Those in Los Angeles and Chicago will see Houston at San Francisco. Cuellar's pitch is on the outside corner, and Robinson strikes out. Brooks stood at home plate for a while and had a few words with the plate umpire, Ed Runge. He thought the pitch may have been outside. It was awfully close. Here is Dick McAuliffe. Well, the strike
occurrence, the most common occurrence here in this All-Star game. McAuliffe has 16 home runs this year, so he can hit with power, but he's facing a left-hander. Takes low from Mike Cuellar, ball one.
Mays was shading McAuliffe slightly to right center field, but he just moved over a couple of steps over to the third base side. He's playing him a little bit toward left field.
Swing and a miss by McAuliffe. It's 1-1. Well, Seaver has not been used. Drysdale has not been used. Osteen for the National League. Lonberg and Horton and Hargan.
Wild to right field. That goes Clemente, but it is too high, not near the warning clock, and with the basket catch, he makes the second out of the inning.
McAuliffe very nearly got around on the pitch and drove it out of here, but it hit a little high. Here's Tony Oliva, who is 1 for 4 and struck out twice.
As you mentioned the name of Don Drysdale, Jim, he just got up in the National League bullpen and is starting to throw very, very slowly, but he's loosening up.
We are in the 11th inning of a ball game that started roughly about 2 hours and 40 minutes ago with the temperature 92. It has dropped to 85 and the shadows have come, and Oliva has lost his bat again on the swing and a miss. He is throwing the bat in the National League dugout to the first baseman, and this time past the National League dugout.
Jim, it's interesting to see the defensive alignment of the National League. Tony Perez, the third baseman, is playing right near the bag, almost on the line, as is Orlando Cepeda. They're protecting once more against that extra base set.
One strike now to Oliva, 2 out in the 11th, 1-1 the score. Mike Cuellar, Houston throws, strike with a breaking pitch. 0-2. Well, everybody's been talking about the hitters. And after this game, they're going to start talking about the pitchers. Amazing control, a high rate of strikeouts, and very few hits, and thus far only 2 runs. Fastball high to Oliva. Here's 1-2.
Got to remember, Jim, that in an All-Star game or a World Series, you see a pitcher once or twice, especially in an All-Star game. You might see a pitcher one time, and the next time up you're facing somebody different, and maybe a pitcher you've never seen before, so you never get a chance to see how his ball is breaking.
High and close. The crowd gasps as Oliva takes ball 2, 2-2.
You may have an opportunity as a hitter in the All-Star game to see the opposing pitcher's curveball one time, his fastball one time. If he's got an off pitcher, he may throw you 3-4 different pitches. You never see the same one twice, and this makes it difficult for a hitter.
2-2 pitch. Oliva swings and misses and very nearly knocks Cuellar off the mound with his bat, and he has lost again. Another strikeout. No runs, no hits, no errors on left. And now at the end of 11, National League 1 to National League 1.
Enjoy the real taste of the great tobaccos. And now you can also have the smoking pleasure of new Camel filters.
Camel filters have a real taste too. Camel filters have a real taste too. Camel filters have a real taste too. Camel filter cigarettes.
Put them together and what have you got? 2 great Camel cigarettes. That's what.
Camel filters have a real taste too. And mine longer. Camel filters have a real taste too. And mine longer. Camel filters have a real taste too. And mine longer. Camel regular filter cigarettes.
We pause 30 seconds for station identification.
All regularly scheduled programs canceled to bring you the All-Star Game on WNBC, AM and FM New York.
Now, I'll tell you something. I don't give a hoot how many are this way. I'm telling you, sir, you've got a head full of chicken fat, and good night.
It will be a good night for you when you join Brad Crandall from 9 to midnight on WNBC.
Jim Simpson with Tony Kubek. Top of the 12th. Hunter throws and Aaron swings and misses. It is strike one. Hunter ready again. It is popped up. Robinson waving everybody off, and now Fregosi comes in back of the mound and says, I'll have it, and does. One down now in the 12th inning. And Cepeda batter. Well, this is a continuing story that we have brought to you all along. Cepeda now is 0 for 4, which makes him 1 for 25 in his all-star career. But Canigliaro really robbed him with a backhanded stab at the warning track in the 10th inning. High and inside from Hunter. Ball 1.
The American League is aligning defensively for Cepeda, playing him to hit late. Olivas playing toward right field. Yastrzemski in left is toward left center.
Good pitch from Hunter. Catches the inside corner. It's 1-1 to Cepeda. Before that line drive that Canigliaro flagged down, Cepeda had grounded out, hit into a double play, and had been called out on strikes. Here's the 1-1 pitch from Catfish Hunter. Hits it straight up in the air. Back goes McAuliffe on the grass and back to second base on the right field side, and has it for the second out. 2 pop-ups. And now, for the first time at bat today, Tony Perez, who replaced Richie Allen at third base. Allen, who hit the home run for the only National League run in the second inning, struck out swinging the next 3 times. Tony Perez, who has played first base, third base for Cincinnati, makes a curveball that's inside, ball 1. Tony was born in Cuba, now lives in Puerto Rico, is off to a great start. 17 home runs, 56 RBIs. And it's his first All-Star game, and he swings and foul tips at strike 1. Well, Richie Allen got his home run in the second to lead it off. Brooks Robinson got one in the 6th, and that's been it. We're now in the 12th. Just standing there, staring in, now ready to pitch to Perez of Cincinnati. Breaking pitch that he fouls down the right field line. It'll go deep in the seats. 1-2. Tony ready again. On deck is McCarver, who has not yet batted either in this All-Star game. Fastball and strike 3. We've got another strikeout. And that's the 26th of this ball game. No runs, no hits, no errors, none left. In the middle of the 12th, the National League won. The American League won.
4-fly, 2-fly, and this first line in premium, I have no idea exactly what that means.
Bruce Herbert of Detroit admits he gets confused in tire stores.
When it comes to buying a tire, I just have to go along with what the salesman says.
We showed Mr. Herbert how he could pick out his next tires himself at B.F. Goodrich. You do it with the tire calculator. It asks you some questions about your driving, about the speeds and roads and so on. Then it tells you which BFG tire suits you best. What did Mr. Herbert think of this?
I think it's a very good idea. Very good. You can figure out exactly what kind of tire your car needs, which, as I said before, is something that's always confused me. I think it's a great idea.
A great idea. The tire calculator. Come in and try it at B.F. Goodrich, the straight talk tire people.
Help yourself to a tire calculator and some straight talk at any B.F. Goodrich store or dealer. The one nearest you is listed in your yellow pages. Well, we're now in the bottom of the 12th inning of this anything can happen, and it already has. All-Star game, the 38th handle. It is 1-1. Armin Killebrew, hitless in 4 attempts, will be out to face the left-hander, Mike Cuellar. Killebrew, the last time up, checked his swing, tried to duck out of the way of a pitch, and popped it up to the second baseman. The American League at first, as the home team, batted last. A run can win it for them in the last of the 12th. Nobody's been getting many runs in this ballgame. Cuellar pitches, and there's a ground ball to Alley at shortstop, who waits on the ball. Now guns it over to first, where Cepeda has it for the first out. That will bring up Tony Canigliaro, who flied to right in the second, again in the 9th, and struck out twice in between. The lights, of course, are on. As a matter of fact, were turned on before the game began at 4:15 Pacific Coast time this afternoon. Cuellar throws to Canigliaro, hits an inside pitch. He was jammed on the play and cleared Bill Rigney, the manager of the Angels, and the coach at third base out of the coach's box. Tony has 13 home runs, 46 RBIs, and a great voice. He's a recording star. Sings very well. Led the league in home runs at age 20. Another pitch in on the fists, and again fouled off, but this time not so viciously. It is strike 2. One out in the 12th. National League 1, American League 1.
Jim, in the American League bullpen, Joel Hall Allen of the White Sox has gotten up and is beginning to throw.
Cuellar is ready. Fastball, foul at the plate, bounced up and hit Canigliaro on the shoulder. And the count remains 2 strikes. Well, the pennant races begin after this one is over. The White Sox go to Cleveland, and Pittsburgh goes to St. Louis for games on Thursday, but everybody's attention here now is on the 38th All-Star game. 2 strikes to Canigliaro with 1 out in the bottom of the 12th. Fastball hit off the fists again. McCarver may have a play in back of the plate on the high pop foul, and does for the second out. Now Carl Yastrzemski, who has been one of the most successful batters for either team. He has a double and a single. He struck out his first time up and walked. The only walk is against 25 strikeouts his last time up. Was sacrificed to second, but then on a hard hit by Alvis to the shortstop, Yastrzemski was caught between second and third and run down. 2 outs. Carl, a left-hander, in to step against the left-handed Cuellar, takes an inside slider for ball 1.
Now once more for the National League, Don Drysdale is beginning to throw, so each ball club has a pitcher up and getting ready.
Low again to Yastrzemski, and it is 2 balls. Killebrew led off the bottom of the 12th by grounding out. Canigliaro fouled out to the catcher, and here's Carl Yastrzemski, who has 19 home runs and 56 RBIs this year. A lot of power in this youngster. Outside, it is ball 3. Freehand is the batter on deck.
Well, Yastrzemski looked down to Bill Rigney, Jim, but I would think that Hank Bauer will have him hitting. If he gets a good pitch that he can hit, he'll be going for everything.
Fastball, and he hits it. 1 hopper past the glove of Mazeroski. Yastrzemski rounds first and holds up there with his 3rd hit in 4 official times at bat. And here comes Bill Freehand, who is 0 for 3.
Catcher, Bill Freehand.
That's the first hit off Cuellar, who has struck out 2. You were so right. Again, here is Freehand. With all the power to end it. 12 home runs, 33 RBIs. A right-hander against the left-hander Cuellar, who makes his move to first. But Yastrzemski was only a step or so off the bat.
Hunter has come out of the dugout for the American League. It is in the on-deck circle, but should Freehand get on, I'm sure Hank Bauer will use a pinch hitter.
They are ready and delivers low to Freehand. Ball 1. At third, Cepeda at first, Ali at short, Mazeroski at second, Aaron in left, Clemente in right, Mays in center, McCarver now the catcher, and Cuellar the pitcher for the National League. Cuellar works to the plate, ground ball. Perez's chances at third. He'll go to second for the 4th, and that's the end of the inning. No runs on 1 hit, no errors and 1 man left, and now at the end of 12. Score of the National League 1 and the American League 1. Now let's take a break and talk about another kind of excitement. It's something youthful and lively, and it has a great shape. What is it? The 67 Dodge Dart. This is the big compact, big on luxury and comfort, with foam-padded seats and full carpet. The Dart model lineup is big, too. There are 2-door hardtops, 2- and 4-door sedans, and, of course, the fun way of getting out in the sun, the ever-popular Dodge Dart convertible. And speaking of excitement, have you ever seen the new Dart GT hardtop? It comes with the things you expect a sports car to have, like bucket seats, center console, and a choice of spirited engines, up to the optional 4-barrel, 273 cubic inch V8. Pick a Dart, any Dart. It's the quickest way out of the dull driving rut. Dart looks like fun, and it is. And the price? Well, that's the thing small about Dodge Dart. See it soon at your Dodge dealer. The good guys in the white hats. We move now to the top of the 13th inning. And Buddy Blattner, let's see if you can get us some runs.
All right, Jim, thank you. Good to be back with you. I've already made 1 tour of the dugout looking for a post-game show that never came about. So we'll see if we can get caught up here. Jim Catfish Hunter, brilliant young right-hander, is on the mound right now. We've seen magnificent pitching in this ball game. We traveled out of the top half of the 13th. The National League All-Stars won. The American League All-Stars won. Allen back in the second for the National League. And Brooks Robinson cleared the wall in left in the sixth. Here's Tim McCarver. Young, fine catcher of the Cardinals from Memphis, Tennessee. A left-handed hitter, and Hunter bends in a curve for strike one. Tim McCarver, who scored the winning run in last year's All-Star game. And Tim runs unusually well for a catcher. He sprays this one foul upstairs on the left. And the count moves on now to strike two. Bill Mazeroski to follow. And then Gene Alley. And everyone enjoying this one. The two-strike delivery. Swung on a line drive down the left field line. Could be a problem. Yastrzemski is over. Can't make the play. It rolls to the barrier. Into second base, Tim McCarver. And he'll hold there with a stand-up double.
Good try by Carl Yastrzemski, but the ball kept slicing away from him. The left-handed hitting McCarver, hitting it down the left field line, and he just could not catch up to it.
You know, and Carl will ordinarily play most every hitter into left center field. I think this is the influence of the strange contours, the park in which he plays at Fenway Park in Boston. You give everybody the line, and you play fairly shallow. You have to, and into left center field.
Buddy, and I would imagine now with Mazeroski up, he'll be trying to advance the runner McCarver into third base so that he can score on that sacrifice fly.
The American League set their defense for the bunt. Shallow at first base is Harmon Killebrew. Brooks Robinson must hold his ground even with the bag at third. McCarver, we told you, is a good runner. Mazeroski squares the bunt and flares it back foul toward the screen for strike one. Mazeroski, none for four in this ball game. Twice has rolled out to the shortstop, and twice has gone out to the left fielder. Mazeroski, powerfully built, a right-handed hitter. Tim McCarver at second base. There's nobody out here in the top half of inning number 13.
Joel Horland continues to work in the bullpen for the American League, and Don Drysdale continues to throw for the National League.
Strike one the count to Mazeroski. Extremely shallow now, Harmon Killebrew. And the pitch by Hunter. A bunted ball. It's a good bunt down the first base line. Picked off by Killebrew. Throwing to McAuliffe at first base, covering for the out. A perfect sacrifice bunt for Mazeroski, and now the infield must play in. And Gene Alley is the hitter due here now for the National League. Gene Alley, no luck in four tries in this ballgame. Tall, slender, right-handed hitter who received more votes than any other man in the All-Star selections.
With the American League infield playing in, Hunter's job will be to try and keep the ball down, keep it low, try to force the ground ball. Alley's up there battling in the opposite direction. He wants to get the ball belt higher above it so he can hit the ball to the outfield. So we've got a battle between that pitcher and hitter going on constantly.
The infield is in tight. And Hunter appears that he is going to pitch from the stretch position. And the outfield now has shallowed up. It's a 1-1 ball game, the top of the 13th. Hunter pitching from the stretch position. And the fastball barreled through there for strike one. And the reason that Hunter now is working from the stretch position, guard against the bunt. McCarver at third. He scored the winning run last year for the National League. Tim began the inning with a double. The next pitch, curve. And this one bends a little bit too low. Ball one and strike one. Gene Alley at the plate. We see Pete Rose out on deck. The outfield is straight away and reasonably shallow. The infield is in tight. Ball one and strike one to Gene Alley. Hunter accepts the sign and now delivers the 1-1 pitch. A curveball waved at by Alley. It's 1-2.
Well, now with two strikes, the attempt at a squeeze is all but eliminated, buddy, so it looks like Alley will be swinging away once more.
And we'll see now if Hunter goes into the full wind. He might. But he seems comfortable now in this position. He will not go into his windup. The 1-2 pitch. Swung on him. Got him on strike. That is strikeout number 4 for Tim Catfish Hunter. And here comes the real Bulldog. Rose hitting here.
now, we've got a little conference on the mound. Freehan has gone out to talk to Hunter, and he's just making sure that Hunter knows how to pitch Rose, whether he's a high ball hitter, low ball hitter. He wants to know where to make sure to settle a youngster down.
Rose, a fine hitter. He has collected 414 hits his past 2 years with Cincinnati. The infield now, normal depth. Still pitching from the stretch position is Hunter, and he delivers. Fastball. This one sails high and away to Pete Rose for ball one. There are 2 outs here in the top of the 13th. Tim McCarver at third base. It's a 1-1 ball game. Rose, stockily built. He's a good runner. And now the full wind by Hunter, and the pitch. A curve up too high. Ball 2, 2-0. Willie Mays kneels in the on-deck circle. This has been an excellent ball game. Jam-packed house here at the Big A, Anaheim Stadium. A curve. This one bends in for a strike. It's 2-1. So Hunter dropping behind Pete Rose. Comes back with a breaking ball. He spins it in for a strike. It's 2-1. The 2-1 delivery. Swung on it high in the air. This one is shallow in center field. Who wants it? McAuliffe drifting back out there. But Oliva comes in and puts it away for out number 3. So the National League denied here in the top half of inning number 13. No runs, 1 hit, and a man left on base. The leadoff double by Tim McCarver goes for naught. And the score at the end of 12 1/2 innings of play. The National League All-Stars won. The American League All-Stars won.
Hello, Face?
Yes.
Are you really my face?
Yes. What do you want?
Well, you're going to think this is silly, but I've been told to ask you about this Gillette Techmatic razor.
Oh, it's beautiful.
Beautiful, huh? Looks kind of funny to me.
It shaves beautiful. Shaves beautiful. I like being treated gently. I do have feelings.
I never meant to hurt your feelings.
That Techmatic thing feels very light. It puts less pressure on me. Pressure. How I hate pressure.
Yes, I've noticed that.
Now, nicks. Do you know what one nick can do to my pride? With a Techmatic, you're just not going to nick me so much. That is a fact.
Hey, you really do like this Gillette Techmatic, don't you? Well, why didn't you speak up before?
Faces should be seen, not heard.
The Gillette Techmatic razor. Ask your face about it.
We're set to view play now in the last half of the 13th inning. And on the mound now, for the National League, the big, strong right-hander, Don Drysdale of the Dodgers. Big D, now 30 years of age, in his 12th Major League season. Drysdale, 6 feet 6, 218 pounds, so he becomes the tallest and the heaviest of all the National League All-Stars. Born in Van Nuys, California, now makes his home in Hidden Hills. He has quite an estate there.
Drysdale will move, of course, into the number 7 position in the batting order. Rose will stay in the position he pinch hit in number 9.
To lead things off, it'll be Jim Hunter. So pitcher against pitcher, right-hander against right-hander here. And off we go in the last half of the 13th. Drysdale accepts the sign. The big man delivers. Sidearm fastball. Swung on and missed. Strike 1. He buzzed this one pretty good. Don Drysdale, twice a 20-game winner. In 1962, he captured 25. In 1965, he won 23. Fastball outside, and Hunter almost figured on this one. Ball got by the catcher, Tim McCarver. It's ball 1, then strike 1. Rose now playing at second base. Perez at third. Ball 1 and strike 1. Jim Fregosi will follow, and the pitch now to Hunter. This is outside. It's 2-1. It's a 1-1 ball game. The last half of the 13th. The National League's only tally came in the second on a home run by Richie Allen. The 2-1 pitch swung
right-handed pinch hitter at this time, he would have used him for Hunter. All he's got left is Casanova, Ken Berry, and Echeverren.
That's right. Fouled back by Hunter. The count remains even at 2-2. And Hunter has done a good job on the mound. He has already worked in 3 innings. So the biggest crowd to ever witness a ball game here at Anaheim Stadium, enjoying this one. Here comes the 2-2 pitch. Swung on and missed. He's got him on strike. The strikeout parade continues. Jim Fregosi digs in. Jim is 1 for 3 in the ball game. He has singled, sacrificed, and struck out twice. Jim with pretty good power. He's a big man for a shortstop. He takes a strike. Like Tony Kubek on my left. Fregosi, 6'2", and he weighs 198 pounds.
And, buddy, if there were ever a stage set for some heroics by the hometown boy.
That's right. Here's the ground ball to Perez at third. His long throw across. He's got him.
But it didn't happen.
So there are 2 outs. And here comes Brooks Robinson. And you know that Brooks right here has only one thought in mind. He's going to go for it all. Brooks 1 for 5 in this game. That one hit, a mighty big. The home run back in the 6th. Right-hander against right-hander, and Drysdale goes to work. Sidearm fastball sails high and inside for ball 1. 2 outs and nobody on the last tap of the 13th inning.
And for those that have never seen Drysdale pitch, as Buddy mentioned, he's tall and he comes from the side quite often. It still has a very good fastball and moves into the right-handed hitters. Once in a while comes overhand with a fastball, one that takes off, has a good hard slider and an occasional slow curveball.
You know, he has all the social graces, but out there in the middle of the diamond, he's a real tiger, like a backroom brawler. And the next pitch, swung on, line drive, off the glove of Perez. It travels down the left field line. And now Emmett Ashford, they're calling this ball foul.
And, Buddy, it appeared that the ball hit Perez's glove, but apparently it did not. Had it touched his glove, it would have been a fair ball because the ball was in fair territory when Perez almost touched it. Henry Aaron thought also it was a fair ball, played it as such, and threw into second base to try and get Robinson, but now Robinson's coming back to hit, and Bill Wrigley is going out to argue.
Bill was not watching either umpire, Ken Burkhardt, or Emmett Ashford, and this ball did appear to go off the glove of Perez and then carry him into foul territory. But evidently, he had reached across the line when the ball hit his glove. So it evens the count on Robinson at ball 1 and strike 1. And Perez now is almost astride the line at third and deep. Drysdale taking too much time, and Robinson steps out.
Ordinarily, Buddy, Perez would have had no chance at all for that ball, but in the late innings and protecting against the extra base hit, he's standing right on that line.
He certainly is. The 1-1 pitch, way inside as Brooks Robinson spins away. A little calling card from Don Drysdale. Ball 2 and strike 1. It's a 1-1 game, the last half of the 13th, and it's been a great one. And now the 2-1 pitch. Swung on and it's a fly ball, fairly shallow in left center. Mays comes in, handles it easily for out number 3. And 1-2-3 is the American League All-Star story here in the last half of the 13th, facing Don Drysdale. And the score at the end of 13, the National League 1 and the American League 1.
4 fly, 2 fly, and this first line in premium, I have no idea exactly what that means.
Bruce Herbert of Detroit admits he gets confused in tire stores.
When it comes to buying a tire, I just have to go along with what the salesman says.
We showed Mr. Herbert how he could pick out his next tires himself at B.F. Goodrich. You do it with the tire calculator. It asks you some questions about your driving, about the speeds and roads and so on. Then it tells you which BFG tire suits you best. What did Mr. Herbert think of this?
That's a very good idea. Very good. You can figure out exactly what kind of tire your car needs, which, as I said before, is something that's always confused me. I think it's a great idea.
A great idea. The tire calculator. Come in and try it at B.F. Goodrich, the straight talk tire people.
The Straight Talk Tire
All-Star people are ready for you now at any B.F. Goodrich store or dealer. Check your yellow pages for the name of the one nearest you.
Bud Blattner along with Jim Simpson and Tony Kubek bring it all your way from the Big A, Anaheim Stadium in Anaheim, California. We're set now for action. The top half of inning number 14. It's a 1-1 ball game. And again, to call it for you, here comes Jim.
All right, buddy. 1-1. Willie Mays, Roberto Clemente, and Hank Aaron. The listed pitchers to go against Catfish Hunter. As we are now in extra innings. And that is the understatement of the year. This is the top of the 14th. Hunter ready for his first pitch to Willie Mays, who fouls it off to the right. Strike one. Mays has been called out on strikes, fly to center, and grounded to short. Up for the fourth time, even though he did not make an appearance until the sixth inning. Hunter ready again. Fastball backs Mays out. This game now is approximately 3 hours and 15 minutes old, and it has gone from 92 degrees at game time to a pleasant 81 now. The pitch is swung on by Mays. It's 1-2.
Jim, and when you think of an all-star, Willie Mays or any of the others, you think of the big home run hitter, you think of a pitcher that can strike out the hitter, but one thing we've seen today, something that also makes them all-stars, is the ability to execute the easy plays, the fundamentals in baseball that means so much in winning ball games.
Ball hit straight away center field. Oliva starts back and now holds up and has it for the first out of the 14th.
Although he drove Oliva back somewhat, he didn't get all of it. It was a breaking ball that Willie waved at, hit a little on the end of the bat, and just didn't quite get a hold of it.
Well, a personal pride, Tony, plays any part of Major League Baseball. The fellow striding to the plate right now, Roberto Clemente, is out for blood. He beat a ball into the ground in the first inning and went for a base hit. Since then, he has struck out swinging, called out on strikes, and struck out twice more swinging. He has struck out his last 4 times at bat. After coming into this ball game with one of the fine averages in the National League and in Major League Baseball of 352. Takes ball 1 outside.
And of course, all of these stars in this classic, Jim, play hard, but I don't think you find any that plays this game more intently than Roberto Clemente.
Hunter ready. Outside corner, about shoulder high, and it's a strike. 1-1. There have been 28 strikeouts in this game. That has broken all records, and only 1 walk. Each team has 7 hits. It's 1-1. But then he watches another one go outside for ball 2. 2-1. Well, it seems ages ago that Richie Allen hit a home run into the center field seats. That was in the second inning to make it 1-0. And then in the sixth inning, Brooks Robinson came back with a home run over the left field wall. And that's the story. 2-1 now to Clemente with 1 down in the 14th. Ground ball. McAuliffe bobbles it, but picks it up and throws him out. McAuliffe waited on the ball, Tony, and the last moment had a little trouble with it, but threw him out in plenty of time. And here comes Hank Aaron. Aaron reached on the forced play in the first and then stole a base, beat out an infield hit in the fourth, was called out on strikes and, or rather grounded out the next 3 times. 2 out now in the 14th. Hunter throws. Aaron bounces it foul toward the American League dugout and over the roof and into the stands. Strike 1.
And at this point, every hitter going to that plate, Jim, is thinking of just one thing, and that's to end it all with 1 swing. So we're seeing some pretty good cuts at these pitches, and consequently, we're seeing more strikeouts, too.
Hunter ready again. This one is hit off the fists foul and hits on top of the National League dugout. 2 strikes. Looking down the list of possible pinch hitters, Ken Berry, Paul Casanova, and Andy Etchebarren remain for the American League. And we've about run the gamut in the National League. Lowe. Looking down the list, I can't find a one, Tony. They're all used up.
Jim, I can't either. I think Hank Bauer has a little bit of the upper hand. He's still got 3 left. Walter Alston does not have a catcher left should something happen to Tim McCarver.
1-2 pitch hit off the fists and very high in center field. Oliva lost it for a while in the lights, now under it, and has it for the 3rd out. No runs, no hits, no errors in the 14th. And at the end of 14, the National League won and the American League won.
In 1955, the key word for the Brooklyn Dodgers was first. They won the first 10 games of the season, setting a league record. They clinched the National League pennant on September 8th, the first team ever to do it that early. And they topped it all off by winning the World Series, bringing Brooklyn its first World Championship. 8 years earlier, in 1947, Chrysler Corporation scored a first of its own. In that year, Chrysler set up its Master Technician Service Conference, the oldest and largest training program in the auto industry. This conference, divided into monthly sessions held at local Chrysler, Plymouth, and Dodge dealers, keeps experienced technicians up to date on the latest service techniques. For even more advanced instruction, these sessions also receive visits from the Chrysler Mobile Training Center, sort of a technical school on wheels. All this adds up to the best possible care for your car and you. Customer care, and exclusive at your Chrysler, Plymouth, and Dodge dealers.
Back at Anaheim, Jim Simpson with Tony Kubek and Buddy Blattner. We move now to the bottom of the 14th inning. Dick McAuliffe, Harmon Killebrew, and Tony Conigliaro, the scheduled hitters, to face Don Drysdale, now working his second inning. There have been 28 strikeouts, 7 hits by each team, including home runs by Richie Allen and Brooks Robinson. And if you just joined us, that brings you up to date. McAuliffe ready to face the right-handed Drysdale, takes outside with the fastball from Drysdale, ball 1. Cepeda is at first, Rose is at second, Alley remains at short where he's been the entire game, Perez at third, Aaron in left, Mays in center, Clemente in right, Carver the catcher, and there's ball 2. Marichal, Jenkins, Gibson short, Cuellar, and now Drysdale for the National League.
Tom Seaver and Denny LeMaster are the only two left for the National League, and LeMaster has a pulled muscle in his ribcage, so that leaves Seaver.
High ball. Hits to right field. Clemente trots in, waves off. Rose, who had come out in the short right, and takes it for the first out of the 14th, the American League 14th. That will bring up Tony Oliva. Well, Oliva has faced a couple of left-handers in his last couple of times at bat, and now is up against the right-handed Don Drysdale. Drysdale this year with a 7-10 record has surrendered 8 home runs. If you're thinking what everybody in the ballpark is thinking, and what Oliva will be swinging for, and Drysdale throws, and there's a ball line to right center field. Dropping in for the base hit, picked up on the third out by Willie Mays, and Oliva, with 1 down in the 14th, is on, bringing to bat Harmon Killebrew. First hit off Don Drysdale, and here's Killebrew, who's been up 5 times without a hit. Before today, Killebrew had quite an all-star record. He was 6 for 14 for 429 and 2 home runs. Now he is 6 for 19 in all-star play. Sidearm pitch, fastball, and pretty quick, Tony. Low, ball 1 to Killebrew.
And, Jim, we've mentioned before about how much these all-star games mean to the individual players and also to the leagues. And Harmon Killebrew, I rode in on the plane with him, and Rod Carew from Minneapolis. And Harmon has a pulled groin muscle, and yet he hasn't begged out of that lineup. He's still in there swinging the bat after 14 innings.
Drysdale now with a stretch, and the look at Oliva at first, and now checks Oliva at first, and Tony's back in time. 1-0 to Killebrew. Last of the 14th inning of the 38th annual All-Star Game. It is all tied at 1-1. Now back by Killebrew. Pitch in on the fist. It's 1-1.
Don Drysdale does not have the ability to get the ball to home plate very quickly. He's big and tall and lanky and everything else, so there's a possibility of a steal threat by Oliva, although he is not a base-stealing threat, really. But we could see Oliva trying to get in the scoring position.
Killebrew waits. Oliva leads off first base in the 14th inning with 1 down. Drysdale has the sign and is in the stretch. Now a check at first. Oliva is back. Count remains 1-1. We have not heard the crowd yet, estimated at nearly 46,000, and I don't believe a soul has gone home. Drysdale ready now. Comes with a pitch right down the middle, strike 2. And now, for the first time today, we are noticing the wind, which is blowing toward left field. It is not a strong wind at all, but there's been little or no wind here today. In a game that started at 4:15 California time. 1-2 2 now to Killebrew. Drysdale taking his time. Throws. That's on the outside corner, and Killebrew is called out on strike. The 29th strikeout of this ball game. That brings up Tony Canigliaro. Tony has flied to right twice, has struck out swinging twice, and the last time up fouled to the catcher, McCarver. As we've told you, Tony has the power also. He has 13 home runs this year. Drysdale working now with 2 out and a lead on first, as Canigliaro fouls it off to the right. The Boston Red Sox very much in pennant contention. They're now in 5th place, 6 games out. Are rather happy with the fact that of the remaining 80 ball games in the American League, 50 will be played at very friendly Fenway Park. The first half of the season, they have done very well on the road. 1 strike to Canigliaro, 2 down in the 14th, 1-1 the score. Oliva at first, and Drysdale taking his time. Don again checks Oliva at first base. The crowd hums a bit, but remember, Oliva, if he should score, the ball game is over, and Drysdale wants to keep him close. Don worked Saturday, 4 2/3 innings, and here he is throwing again. Another check at first base, and Oliva was just a step or 2 off.
And mentioning the Red Sox surge this year, Jim, they, of course, have always been a home ball club and have never been able to win on the road very often, but they this year are putting together some very important wins on the road, and this has made them pennant contenders for the first time in many years.
Drysdale staring in for the sign after having stepped off once. The stretch, fastball, which is low. It is 1-1 to Canigliaro. Tony has had 11 home runs in his last 28 ball games, which is quite a pace.
And Drysdale is taking his time now. He doesn't want to get that loss tag hung up on him, so he's walking around on that mound, looking around to see if his outfielders and infielders are positioned the way he wants them, and he's finally getting ready to pitch right now.
Don is ready now, checking Oliva. Sidearm pitch stays inside. It is 2-1. 2-1 to Canigliaro with Oliva at first base. The ball game fast approaching the 3.5-hour mark. And we're in the bottom of the 14th inning.
This pitch is a good pitch for a steal attempt, Jim. With 2-1 on Canigliaro, Drysdale doesn't want, if he doesn't have to go to 3-1 on Canigliaro, so we could see a possible steal attempt.
Oliva is not moving. The ball is fouled off and upstairs to the right by Tony, and it is 2-2. Well, after this, of course, the teams go back to their pennant races, and the White Sox open at Cleveland on Thursday, and Pittsburgh moves into St. Louis. The White Sox and the Cardinals at the All-Star break. The White Sox leading Detroit by 2 games, and the Cardinals leading the Cubs by 3.5. And Ernie Banks of the Cubs was saying that the Cubs' 7-game losing streak will be broken at the expense of the Dodgers, he announced, starting Thursday. 2-2, bottom of the 14th. Canigliaro waits. Drysdale is ready. The ball is low. Oliva is running. The ball is waiting for him, and McCarver is throwing him out. McCarver rose, and that ends the 14th inning. Canigliaro still at bat. No runs, 1 hit, no errors, and none left. And now at the end of 14, the National League won, the American League won.
Hey, Mitch, suddenly I've got an itch to switch to one of those new longer cigarettes. Great, Skitch. Then switch. But there's only one hitch, Mitch. I don't know which to switch to. Well, pardon the pitch, but there's only one long cigarette to which you should switch, Skitch. Which, Mitch? Which? The new Super King Size Winston. Is there any other? After all, anyone can make a cigarette long, but
It's not how long you make it. It's how you make it long.
And how does Winston make it long? With an extra measure of that famous good taste that has made Winston America's largest selling cigarette. So if you've got an itch to switch to a long cigarette but don't know which to switch to the new Winston Super King.
It's good.
We pause 30 seconds for station identification.
Don't miss today's New York Daily News for the heartwarming story of how the Irish have been charmed by Jackie Kennedy, Caroline, and John. This exclusive special series on the former First family's visit to the Emerald Isle starts today in the New York Daily News. All regularly scheduled programs canceled to bring you the All-Star Game on WNBC AM and FM New York.
Is ready with the first pitch of the 15th inning. To Cepeda, it is inside ball one, and this has set a new record for the longest All-Star game played as we move to the 15th inning. And remember, there have been 29 strikeouts, another record. This one is hit to right field. Back goes Canigliaro. Back on the warning track, looking up and has it. A step from the wall. Cepeda is out again. He is 0 for 6 on the day, 1 for 27 in his All-Star career. But today, twice has hit deep and hard-driven balls to right field.
And you can see the stroke that Cepeda developed in Candlestick Park with the wind blowing out to right field. And I think if Orlando had been in Candlestick Park, he would have had himself a home run.
Here is Tony Perez, who's been at bat only once, and he struck out in the 12th. Jim Catfish Hunter still on, still working as an extra innings. The pitchers no longer have to go just the 3 innings. Strike one to Perez, a breaking ball on the inside corner. During the regulation 9, a pitcher can go no more than 3 innings. But once the regulation 9 is gone, they run out of pitchers. There's a long drive to left field off the bat of Perez. Back goes Yastrzemski looking up. Home run. National League leads 2-1 in the 15th. Perez hit the ball very well. It carried on a line drive just over the 375-foot sign in left center field. Hit the ball very well, and Yastrzemski could not get back to the wall at all. That will not go into the regular season books, only into the All-Star records, but that's the 18th home run that Perez has hit in championship competition this year. 17. There's another drive. This time by McCarver. Picked up in right field by Canigliaro and holds him to a single, and McCarver has been wielding a hot bat. Tommy Helms, who was out once before, only to be called back. He'll come up to bat for Don Drysdale. National League, well, it's all been home runs. Richie Allen has one, and Tony Perez in this, the 15th inning. Brooks Robinson has homered for the American League, and that's it, 2-1 in the 15th. The National League now, with 1 out in the 15th, would like to add a run or two. 2 runs, 9 hits, no errors for the National, 1 8-0 for the American. Strike from Jim Catfish Hunter.
And when the National League takes the field, it'll be Tom Seaver of the Mets coming into the ball game. He's the only pitcher that manager Walter Alston has left, aside from Denny LeMaster, who, as we mentioned before, is injured.
Strike one pitch to Helms, and this one is a little high, and it's 1-1.
Joel Horland is now up for the American League. He's beginning to throw, so should a rally get going here, we could see Joel.
4 of the hits and 1 run have come off Hunter for the National League. McCarver at first, Helms the batter, line drive, right to McAuliffe, who trots over and throws it to Killebrew for the double play as McCarver was off and running. And it stunned the crowd that McCarver was off because the ball was not that sharply hit. 1 run on the home run by Perez. 2 hits, no errors and none left. And in the middle of the 15th, the National League 2, the American League 1.
Yeah, I heard a man say to me, and it kind of threw me off completely, where this is a 4-ply tire, and then another one will tell you this is a full 4-ply tire, and I don't know still what...
That's George Medwar of Boston. He was telling us about his experience buying tires.
I go, I look for a tire. If a fella tells me it's a good tire, he never asks me what kind of driving I do, where I drive, how I drive.
We told Mr. Medwar, come to B.F. Goodrich. We ask you all those questions with our tire calculator, and the calculator will tell you which B.F. Goodrich tire suits you best and costs you least. What did he think of our tire calculator?
Gives somebody an idea more realistically how to choose a tire. I think it'd be very helpful.
Very helpful. The tire calculator. Try it next time at B.F. Goodrich, the Straight Talk Tire people.
Help yourself to a tire calculator and some straight talk at any B.F. Goodrich store or dealer. The one nearest you is listed in your yellow pages. Now coming into pitch, and what a thrill this must be for him, and what moments of nervousness he must be feeling, Tom Seaver of the New York Mets. Seaver, last time out, Saturday, went the full 9 innings to beat Atlanta. 8-5 on the year with a 2.65 earned run average, 14 home runs, and has been the mainstay of the Mets staff and has pitched 10 complete ball games. He will face Canigliaro, who was at bat when Oliva was thrown out attempting to steal, Yastrzemski, and Bill Freehan.
From New York Mets.
Announcement that Tom Seaver, a right-hander, is coming in to pitch. Seaver warming up as Canigliaro standing by. Tony has struck out twice, has flied to right twice, and has fouled out once. The National League, well, a lot of records. There have been 29 strikeouts. The 15 innings makes it the longest All-Star game in history, and no team has ever won more than 4 All-Star games in a row. The National League has won 4, and right now could be the team that wins 5 in a row, should they win right here. Of course, there's still a half inning to go against the young rookie Tom Seaver. Tony Kubek, when we saw him, he beat Atlanta last Saturday, but a couple of weeks ago we saw him against Atlanta, and against a good power-hitting team, he was immensely effective.
Right, Jim, we were talking, Buddy Blattner and I, about Jim McLaughlin, and I would compare Tom Seaver to McLaughlin in that he has a tremendous amount of poise for a youngster. He's not afraid to get ahead of the hitters, to challenge these big hitters and throw that ball across the plate. He's got a lot of ability, a good hard slider, and a pretty good fastball.
The American League trailing by 1, bottom of the 15th, in danger of losing their 5th in a row to the National League. The National League wins, they'll have a 20-17 edge. They will have won 17 of the last 22. With that in mind, Canigliaro, Yastrzemski, and Freehan are due up in the bottom of the 15th. And here's Tom Seaver's first pitch, fastball, which is catching Canigliaro at the knees for strike 1.
Jim, we inadvertently forgot that Claude Osteen, a left-hander from the Dodgers, is with the National League All-Star team, and he begins to warm up now.
Another low fastball from Seaver, but this one is too low, and it's 1-1. The crowd very quiet as Seaver winds and throws on the outside. It's 2-1 now. To Canigliaro, who has one thing in mind, get on base. He represents the tying run. The crowd is still here, 46,000 nearly. There's a ball popped up, foul. It'll be out of play and back of the plate. 2-2.
Canigliaro is another player that gets hit quite often by pitch balls. He's had fractures in the arm and everything else from being hit, and he keeps that left front foot of his very close to home plate, and his left elbow is in the strike zone, so these pitchers may throw a ball that is close to being a strike, and it could hit him.
Here's a 2-2 pitch from Seaver. It is low, 3-2. Tony, you were speaking of being hit. John Wyatt hit Canigliaro early this spring, and Tony suffered a hairline fracture of the shoulder, but is back and is doing very well with 13 home runs and 46 RBIs on the year. 3-2 pitch from Seaver. Ground ball, foul. Almost made it into the American League All-Star dugout, picked up by third base coach Bill Rickey. Still 3-2. There has only been one walk, and this is not the time for a pitcher to walk a player. 2-1, National League, last of the 15th. Canigliaro, the leadoff batter, 3-2. The pitch hit high in the air. Over comes Aaron in left field. Mays in center. It is Hank Aaron in short left field who has it for the first out. And now time begins to run out on the American League as Carl Yastrzemski comes into bat. Carl has been the hottest hitter in this game. In that, after striking out in the second inning, he doubled in the fifth, singled in the seventh, drew the game's only walk in the 10th, and singled again in the 12th. So officially, he is 3 for 4. Seaver throws outside corner, right one. Now some of the fans, very few, feeling that perhaps this game could be over, are beginning to make their way out. Bottom of the 15th, team. Seaver throws inside to Yastrzemski, and it is 1-1. And here at Anaheim, where it is strictly at American League City, they are getting the fight songs out for the American League, which trails 2-1. Fastball misses outside. It is 2-1, and as you said, Tony Kubek, Seaver is not afraid to get ahead of the batter. He was behind to connect the arrow and got him on a short fly to left field.
He has the rare ability for a young pitcher to get his breaking ball over, the hard slider that he has almost any time he wants to, so he has confidence.
Low, and now he's 3-1 on Yastrzemski.
Well, let's see now if Seaver will go with his best pitch on 3-1, which is the slider.
Alston, who's warming up should he be needed, worked as recently as Sunday and went 9 2/3 innings on Sunday, so should he come in, he'd be coming in with just 1 day's rest. 2-1 the score in the last of the 15th. Seaver throws outside and low, and there's the second walk of the ball game. Yastrzemski, the potential tying run, takes the base. Freehand is in the batter's box now, but Ken Berry has come into the on-deck circle, and we could get him as a pinch hitter. Berry, a last-minute replacement when Frank Robinson took himself out of the All-Star game last Friday night. Bill Freehand today has struck out, popped out, struck out again, sacrificed, and reached on the fourth play. Freehand with a lot of power, one down 15th inning. Throw, and Freehand took a mighty cut, strike one. Yastrzemski's on first. National League out in front by a run. Seaver, as did Don Drysdale the inning before, taking his time, realizing the import of the situation. Low, and it's 1-1. Well, Catfish Hunter stands to be the loser. And, of course, Drysdale stands to be the winner, having been in there when the home run was hit by Perez.
Bill Freehand at the plate, Jim, is not particularly fast. He does hit a lot of ground balls hard, so with Seaver on the mound, a good sinker ball, low ball pitcher, we have a double play possibility.
Here's the 1-1 pitch, strike two. Freehand taking. It is 1-2. And now, for the first time in this game, the tension begins to build. Because the runs have all scored on homers, sudden swiftness. There's the ball, line to center field. Willie Mays comes in a step or two and has it for the second out.
Bill hit the ball very well, hit it almost directly at Mays. Hardly had to move, but he hit the ball very well.
Now Ken Berry. And Ken, a last-minute replacement, as we said, for Frank Robinson, represents the last chance for the American League. They're 2 down here in the 15th. Ken Berry has 4 home runs, 26 RBIs, and got off to a great start. But as of last weekend, was 0 for 26. Did pick up a hit on Sunday, but he had been in quite a slump. Swings at the first pitch, and it's strike one.
Jim, we can't mention enough times how flawlessly both of these ball clubs have played. No errors by either team. They've executed all the little things, the sacrifices, the force outs, all the little things that make true superstars and true all-stars.
One strike to Berry. Yastrzemski still at first base with 2 down in the last of the 15th. National League leading by 1. Berry takes outside from Tom Seaver, the rookie pitcher from the Mets who's trying to save the game for the National League, and Don Drysdale. 1-1 the count. Berry, a right-handed batter. Seaver ready and throws, and he threw this one right by Berry. He swung and missed. 1-2. Count to Ken Berry. The crowd edges forward a little bit more. He throws outside and low. 2-2 to Ken Berry. Well, this has been the longest game in All-Star history, and it's been one of the most exciting. And all of the scoring has come on home runs with dramatic swiftness. There have been no real rallies as such. 2-2. Swing and a miss, strike three, the 30th strikeout of this All-Star game that has gone 15 innings, retires Ken Berry, and the American League, the foam padded seats and full carpeting. The dark model lineup is big also. There are two-door hardtops, 2- and 4-door sedans, and of course, the fun way of getting out in the sun, the ever-popular Dodge Dart convertible. And speaking of excitement, have you seen the new Dart GT hardtop? It comes with the things you expect a sports car to have, like bucket seats, center console, and a choice of spirited engines, up to the optional 4-barrel 273 cubic inch V8. Pick a Dart, any Dart. It's the quickest way out of the dull driving rut. Dart looks like fun, and it is. And the price, well, that's the thing small about Dodge Dart. See it soon at your Dodge dealers. The good guys in the white hats. Well, Buddy Blattner, this is the first All-Star game in Anaheim, but a lot of things are going into the record books, and certainly it's been one of the greats.
Well, Jim, this one will be long remembered. Again, we say the name of the game is pitching, and that was on display here this afternoon and early evening. Magnificent pitching by both ball clubs. And of course, as Tony mentioned, an errorless ball game through 15 innings, the longest All-Star game on record. I think the unusual twist is that 3 runs were scored in the ball game. All 3 were home runs, and all 3 were hit by third baseman Richie Allen, Tony Perez, and then Brooks Robinson. And for 25-year-old Tony Perez, I know he'll long remember this one because a rather strange thing. Last year he hit, but 4 home runs all of last year. He has 17 home runs now at the All-Star break, and this one he puts in the trophy room. A great ball game all the way around, and the 46,000 I know thoroughly enjoyed it as much as we enjoyed bringing it right on down the line to everyone in the country.
Thank you, Buddy Blattner, the voice of the California Angels, and our thanks to you for working with us. Tony Kubek, as an ex-player, how did you see this 38th annual All-Star game?
Jim, I saw Eddie Stanky of the White Sox coaching down at first base this entire ball game, and Eddie, of course, speaks about the intangibles in baseball, the little things, the fundamentals that most big league players perform and do, and that's what we saw today, a good fundamental ball game, no errors, great pitching, the home run when it was needed, great play under pressure, and it was pressure all the way in this tight ball game. So Eddie Stanky is sure proud of his ball club, the American League, even though they did lose it.
Thanks to you also, Tony. The National League, which has won its 5th in a row, which is a brand new record, 15 innings, a brand new record, 30 strikeouts, a brand new record. Drysdale the winner, 2 runs, both on homers by Richie Allen and Tony Perez, 9 hits, no errors. The American League, a home run by Brooks Robinson, 8 hits and no errors. Hunter the loser, Drysdale the winner. Our engineer for NBC has been John Pollard. Our NBC producer has been Hal Ashby. 2 runs, 9 hits, no errors for the National League. 1 run, 8 hits, no errors for the American. Jim Simpson with Tony Kubek and Buddy Blattner. And that wraps up the 1967 All-Star Baseball game. Be with us again for the first game of the 1967 World Series, when your hosts, as today, again will be Chrysler Corporation, makers of Plymouth, Dodge, Chrysler, Imperial, and Dodge trucks. By Gillette Heads Up Hair Groom. It grooms your hair with a clean look of water. By Camel Cigarettes, regular and filtered. Have a real smoke. Have a Camel. And by B.F. Goodrich, the straight talk tire people. The final score once again in the 38th All-Star game in 15 innings, the National League 2, the American League 1. This has been an NBC Radio Network production.